This is season 1, episode 6 of the Money Talks, Money Matters podcast featuring the great Sean and Zach. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves a little bit?
Yep, Zach Bazanza, realtor here in South Florida. Teaming up with my buddy here, Sean, and I know Darian. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Darian does our videography and media.
Yeah. Sean Rodriguez, real estate agent past 2 years, 21 years old. Zach's 23, just some young guys chasing.
Now, my first question is, how do two young studs stumble into real estate? How did you guys get involved?
Do you want to go first?
You want to do the quick thing we do at our meetings real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So we've been doing these things. We've been doing breath work for a year. Mm-hmm. I've been doing breath work for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Before anything we ever do, we want to change our state because we drove here. We're fired up. We're listening to music. You guys just took so long to set this up. I'm going to get a little trippy, but we close our eyes and take a 15-second deep breath to really get in our state.
Yeah, let's do it.
So just close your eyes and just breathe in as deep as you can. And just hold it for 15 seconds and then let go whenever you want. That shit feels good.
Feels great.
I'm ready.
It just changes your state completely because we're so fired up for the podcast.
Dude, I feel good now.
Yeah. Feels good, right?
Yeah, no, it feels great.
Awesome. All right, so how we got into real estate. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually got into it 6 months prior to Zach. I went over to the Kai's company and it was a whole thing, but I really want to back up first. The way I got into real estate is very simple. I was young guy. I was good at school, but I just didn't like school. I felt like it was a waste of time, more or less for myself. You go to school for 8 hours and you only really need to be there for about an hour. You go because you're just learning about whatever, but you only need to be there for a 30-minute study guide and a 30-minute test. So I was like, this is just an absolute, not good structure and efficient use of my time. And I felt like it could be worth more in my hands. And so I looked for different career paths I could actually do without going to college that would enable me to own my own business in the future. So that was either going to be a stockbroker or a real estate agent. I decided on real estate because of the networking opportunities and the really just fulfillment. Because if you're a stockbroker or whatever else, you may sit here and be like, oh, I want to be Wolf of Wall Street, and then you fuck a grandma who is the nicest lady. Not physically fuck her, right? Financially, but you make a buck. But when you do that with a house, it's very hard to do that with a home.
Correct.
The process is so much longer. The people decide on the home, and they need to go through an entire process to even be able to get that one asset for themselves. And you can change an entire person's life by being able to change where they live. So I was like, that's what I want. And in the future, I want to invest in real estate. And, here we are now. And I decided that's the career path I wanted to go on. So I'd saved all this money since I was 12 years old. I'd done landscaping, all these different dead end jobs. Everyone's done the whole restaurant, busboy, career path. It's not a career path anymore, but it was cool when I was doing it. And I went and I decided I was just going to be a real estate agent, got my license. I went over to the Kai's company. I was there for 6 months, and then we joined up with EXP Realty because it just was kind of a dead end. Over at the Kai's company, it's 100 years old, and so they're oh, we're 100 years old, we're established. It's you probably should have been gone 50 years ago. Too big to fail. It's no, you're just too old. You failed 50 years ago. And they were one of those people that were worried about the iBuyer or whatever that's supposed to mean. And I had this mentor, and they give you these mentors when you first start. And lovely lady, but she was only she was working for 10 years and only made 40 grand a year.
Oh my gosh.
And I was okay, this may not be the career path that I thought it was going to be. And she was this is the most you can hope to achieve in the next 5 years, but that's only because you're really special, Sean. And I was it sounds good. Yeah. And so eventually I ran into this guy because I was doing different prospecting, whatever else. And he talked to me about EXP Realty and his brokerage. And I met up with this other guy named Paul. And that's, how we all have met each other. And I decided to go with him because I meet this guy, and keep in mind I'm coming from this mentor who I've been doing random showings, random open houses for the past 6 months, made absolutely no money. I've lost all my money, lost everything. Girlfriend of 5.5 years, broke up, dropped out of college, had nothing, absolutely nothing, and was actually dead broke. And I live with my parents, but I was one of those guys, I was always too proud to take anything. So my mom would be like, hey Sean, you have no money in your account, here's $40 for the week for lunch, and I would actually cry. Yeah, because I just
I hear you
couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And,
because you see yourself in such a great position, and you're just why is this happening?
And from someone that's provided for you, don't want to take that away. Again, especially when you're an adult and you can take it for yourself.
Yeah,
you feel like you're failing. So it's I had actually hit my absolute dead zone, and then I met this guy Paul, and he makes high 6 figures a year. And he drives around this Tesla and has I have a MacBook Air, he has a MacBook Pro. I'm like, what are we doing? I was like, this is prime. And so cool. Eventually from that I met my true mentor Michael Johnston a few months later, and everything's been just started to work out, and it's been really great ever since. I met up with Zach close to
can't wait to tell that
a year and a half ago. We met at this random bar for some event or whatever, and then 6 months after we got back together, and we were like, oh cool, you want to just sit down and just prospect, because it's so hard. I mean, I'm sure you guys know, it's so hard to find someone's successful, or not even successful, just driven and ambitious, and that wants something.
And it's also just real.
Just real.
You see, especially in this age, we have a lot of influencers that want to say, buy my course, I'll show you the way. I hear you on that. And then just to find a real person, don't worry about their money. Don't worry about even how much they're doing a year, but if they're an actual genuine person.
Oh, 100%.
Definitely.
And you hear all these different people about how they have they're you want me to show you how to make $10,000 a month?
Of course, they make this a secret.
Yeah, and they make it a secret. They're let me sell you a course for $1,000.
It's not a
talking
secret.
$10,000 a month. I'm let's just go sell one house.
100%.
What are we doing here? And they make, and then with $10,000 a month lifestyle, they're present all these private jet and lavish going to Dubai and stuff. I'm $10,000. I'm man, that was the ticket. What are we?
No, I know.
So it's it was really good because I got to meet with someone who I absolutely admired, and I was able to follow after them, and
which is Mike.
And we opened up a branch office about 6 months ago, and we're running it. We're gonna open up a new office probably in the next 3 to 6 months over in Fort Lauderdale.
You're a broker?
Oh, and I'm not a broker.
We're not brokers.
The best part about EXP Realty is that you're able to start a team in a branch in an office and own it completely out by yourself. And then we have one broker for the state of Florida. Okay. So you're basically able to be a freelance agent with a brokerage behind you. That's not even behind you. It's just for insurance and
got it.
Things like that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I work with a lot of investors, a lot of developers up north. They're coming down here. I help buy investment properties. that just put up a quadplex, for 1.1 this Tuesday.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million.
I took the photos for that, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out Darian. And just that's really who my clients are right now, just investors and developers and stuff. And so I do some residential and stuff, but that's more or less what I'm working
King
with.
of Lake Worth Beach.
Absolute king of Lake. And you grew up in Lake Worth, right?
I grew up in Lake Worth.
How does that feel being able to almost take over where you started?
The thing is I grew up in Lake Worth, and a year ago I went to my house. Literally, it looks like Shrek Swamp. It is absolutely fucked. I live in this little townhouse. This, we're gonna go down a whole nother rabbit hole after. But I'll just finish my thought. I went down to my house, and it looks literally Shrek Swamp. The whole house was absolutely fucked. It had mold on the actual fences outside, and it was just torn down and just a piece of shit. And I think about what it took for my mom to even let us live there. And now I live over in a condo, in a high rise in city place. It's and now I'll be now I'm able to provide and take my mom out. And do things for her, and go on these different adventures, and go on these different trips, and meet all these great, amazing people. Get to be on the podcast with you guys, which is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Life is just totally different, but it's
so awesome. Would you consider your mom being your why? Because I feel like everyone has a why.
Man.
So
we were talking about that today.
Okay.
Yeah. My why this year is to put $100,000 in my mom's account.
Okay.
The thing is about my mom is she's such a great woman. I grew up without a dad. My mom, my dad got divorced when I was like 7 weeks old, and like whenever he was around, he was like super, just not the best guy. And you know, she had different partners, and they were just like not the best people. So like that's who I was always around. But my mom was always just like a very bright light in my life. She used to pay for preschool for me with like food stamps for gallons of milk.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
That's amazing.
Like she like is just the best woman ever. Like she's a hairdresser for the past 40 years. She's like, you know, right now, like I just need to get her out because she's had carpal tunnel. Like I think she has like carpal tunnel in her wrist for like the past few years, and like her ankles are shot. You know, she's standing on her feet all day long working and like just trying to like hustle, work a business. Like we talked about it the other day. Like I'm not trying to like, jeez. So I'm not trying to put out like too much like certain information, but I found out like how much my mom had in like her like retirement, and like I was like, what the fuck? Because like it's just nothing. Like it's just not enough for me to like justify being her son and like making it okay. Like and you know, she needs to retire in the next like 3 years.
But this brings up a big topic where
That's huge.
where we always learn is you have to help yourself before you help others.
Yeah,
And
100%.
even though like we all have those goals where we want to like retire our parents super early and do different things like that, you can't jump ship too fast. And like you, I'm glad you understand that too, because I've heard stories time and time again. It's like, you know what? I made my first 40K.
Yeah.
Boom, here. And then they're just like back to ground zero. And it's like there's steps you take.
For sure.
How am I gonna like? My whole thing is like, in order to give her $100,000, that means I have to make 400.
Yeah.
Like
that's fair.
Like it's just what it has to be. Like if not, then I can't give you 250 the next year.
It's like the airplane rule. You like, you know, when you're
Put your mask on.
You put your mask on so you can help the other people. Just make sure you feed yourself first. And this guy's so dedicated to his mom. He has his mom as a air freshener, her face air freshener in his car. And this guy kicks his feet up in the office. I see his mom on his socks. I'm like, damn,
Dude, that's legit.
You are like a great guy.
Well, to be fair, she got those things for me.
Yeah.
So.
You wear them.
I don't want you to think like I just like rented this shit out. Like, but yeah, I do love her. She's
Dude, your stories like
so
good.
As not on the mom side, but as far as like the school side, I know you, Zach, had a similar story as far as going about school, not enjoying it too much, finding real estate. You wanna talk about that a little bit?
Did you finish? Is that all?
Man, we're good.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, geez. All right. So, you know, having childhood, all this, all that, parents divorce, blah blah blah. You know, whole fucking 10 yards. So I get to high school. I'm this extremely insecure kid. You know, extremely overweight, no friends, whole 9 yards, addicted to video games, lose half my eyesight. I'm wearing contacts right now because of that. And then, you know, one day I was like, hey man, I told my buddy Mike, I was like, hey dude, I want to throw a party. Like, why not? Like, why not I get my face? So I threw that party, met all these cool guys, and I feel like right then and there is when my life really started, because I was in this cave in my room, overweight, playing video games for probably like 8 years of my life. Yeah, like seriously,
That's awful.
It was horrible. So I did that.
Were you happy?
Dude, like,
Well, okay,
probably not.
I wouldn't say like.
I would
happy,
say,
but were you almost satisfied with where you were in life?
I wasn't, because I knew I was overweight.
Yeah.
I knew I played too many video games, because my mom, I would literally be in summer, I'd literally be from like 8 to 4 in the morning. 8 a.m. to 4 in the morning play video games. Like, absolutely horrible schedule, which leads to, you know, eyesight loss because I'm in the dark and this giant screen. But this doesn't matter at all. But this is how I came up. You know, I met all these guys, and, you know, they introduced me to this like party high school life. And I think that's really made me who I am today. Like, I'm so blessed that I threw that party.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, so I just threw it. You know, cops were called. I was this little kid, like overweight, insecure. I was like, who are you guys? Like, people coming in, knocking, let me get here. Like, probably like, I had like I have a 1,300. My mom has a 1,300 square foot home, single family home.
Oh my god!
I feel like,
and how many people were there?
Like, maybe a little more. Fit like 80 people in there for sure. And just imagine me like, just like, oh my god, like couldn't even drink because I was so worried.
So then after that party, how are you feeling?
I felt good because I had friends.
It was like
I had friends. I really had friends, but I did have like the real close friends, real close friends when I was playing video games, and you know. But I have these new guys. I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool. This is like a new lifestyle for me. So I start getting involved. You know, start talking to like girls. Start talking to all my friends, and it's just like a new world. So then, you know, I ended up going to TCC, not FSU. TCC, Tallahassee Community College, where my brother went, joined the fraternity, did all this, did all that, got involved. And, you know, I really just stopped playing video games as hard as I did, noticed my weight, lost a lot of weight, got into the gym. But I always knew school wasn't for me. You know, in high school, I barely passed. I got like a 2.2 GPA. Mm-hmm. Wow. Probably less, maybe like a 2.15.
Scholar.
Like absolutely horrible because I never thought school was for me.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But everyone says like, I think school is like a test. I think school is like a test of how far you can like do it. I mean, you're never going to use anything in school. That may be wrong, but like you definitely use some bits and pieces of it, but not the majority. Like I'm not using a lot that I'm doing there, so I didn't really care for it. I never really tried for it. I procrastinated it, and I would just go in the cycle, procrastinating, fail a test, and I became aware of that very recently of my procrastinating, which actually came from school.
Yeah.
So yeah, do that, do school, go to TCC, have a fucking blast there, you know, college fraternity, bartended, bar backed in college. It was awesome. Then I dropped out. I was like, all right, this isn't for me.
What year did you drop out?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Oh my gosh. All right. I probably took 20 classes. I think I passed 3 of them.
Wow.
I had Florida prepaid. I didn't realize how beautiful Florida prepaid was. It's free.
Yeah.
Your parents do it for you when you're younger. They did it before the divorce, I think.
So what'd your parents say when you dropped out?
No one was for it. No one was for me dropping out. Very standard. No one likes when their kid drops out. It's like, oh my God, you're gonna go to college.
Especially
you're gonna
prepaid. They're like, what the
oh
fuck?
yes,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's free. You're going to college for free.
Yeah.
Not like for free, but you know, whatever fund it like builds up money over time, or I don't know how it works. But anyways, I think I gave it to my sister.
You can just hand it off? You can just hand off your college?
I think I did. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But so
then I remember briefly we were talking a while ago, and you said you were bartending, and was that when you got into real estate?
Yeah, so I drop out and I'm like, all right, what do? Do I go back to Palm Beach State College, take classes, and repeat that cycle that I was repeating in high school? You know, fail, procrastinate. Like, I'm really sick of this lifestyle. I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. My mom was my like number one hero for sure. She was an entrepreneur. I saw my dad was an entrepreneur as well. He had his big contracting company that, you know, fell off and whatever happened, I don't know. But anyways, my mom and dad were both entrepreneurs. I was like, oh my God, it sounds so cool. They both didn't go to college, which is my excuse to get out. It was my scapegoat. So I got out. Like, you didn't go to college. So yeah, I just, you know, decide I'm not going to do it. I don't take the classes because I'm done failing and done feeling guilty. I just feel horrible after I fail because I promised myself every time I'd fail that I would do better, and I just wouldn't.
So why do you think you never got it together and like really started trying to pass?
So that's going to be, I can say it now. I believe the way you were raised is the way you go about life. And I heard this thing, well, I believe it's real, when up to 7 years old, you're programmed. Mm-hmm. This will be a conversation for later, or we can just do it now.
Keep 'em open.
Yeah.
I mean, you're programmed until 7. So if a kid, if your parents tell you that something's bad before 7 years old and yell at you for yelling out loud, you're a young kid, you're yelling out loud, that lives in your subconscious until you're dead, pretty much.
Wow.
And you don't realize you're doing it. So there was definitely something that I found out very recently, that I never put my clothes away. I never put my clothes away when I was younger. And that is something that went into my daily life, procrastinating my clothes, procrastinating my work. Mm-hmm. And that was a big breakthrough that I've had very recently. I'm like, oh my God, that's why I do this. That's why I do that. So once you unravel the programming, I'm getting like super deep. Once you unravel the programming of when you were younger, that's when you can reprogram your mind to do something else.
And this is why, like, I'm so glad you said that, because this is where killing your ego, or at least suppressing your ego, comes into a big play.
100%.
Your ego will always tell you you're right. And you know, and as humans, we'll always have that one thing that we just haven't unpacked or haven't even seen that we can reprogram. And once you can like kind of get in that mental space and say like, okay, what can I work on? What can I relearn?
Yes.
That's when life
exactly. So you know, I'll go back to the whole story and everything. I drop out. We'll get into that a little later. I drop out. Parents mad, Nana's mad, everyone's mad. Everyone's like, oh, I don't think you should. Just get your AA. I'm like, why do I get my AA? Like, what is that going to do for me?
Correct.
What is my AA? I don't know. It's half of college. Like, like there's going to be one. I hate this line. I hate this line. There's something that they'll never take away from you if you lose everything, and that's your degree. Bullshit. Like, what do you mean? No one's going to take my pride. No one's going to take my heart away. I don't care about this piece of paper. When people say that, I'm like, you're wrong. No one can take my heart away. No one can take my belief. And I believe very recently that I can truly do anything. Thank you for that push. I'll explain that later.
Okay.
Where was I?
Oh, you were talking about your Nana was mad.
Yes, everyone was so mad.
Yeah.
So I drop out. Everyone's mad, blah, blah, blah. So I go bartend. I interview at Rocco's Tacos. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna work at Rocco's. It's gonna be so cool. It's just like college. I can bartend here. It's gonna be awesome. They're like, yeah, you're gonna be a busboy. I'm like, oh my God. I literally did this in high school. I'm not gonna do this again. So I find Chili's Bar and Grill. Right out of college. I'm the fucking frat bartender working at Chili's. And how do you think my 8 friends reacted to that? Yo, you're a loser. You dropped out. You bartend at Chili's. I'm like, all right, let me take a step back. All right, so I'm bartending at Chili's, and I just have to make the most of it. That's what I thought. I just have to make the most of it. I need to figure it myself out right now. I was bartending, making, you know, bartending money. It was decent. And my brother comes up to me one day. He's like, yo, I see one of my boys doing real estate. Let's get our real estate license. I'm like, oh my God, okay. I have nothing going on. I dropped out of college. I'm almost a failure. Because I had no belief in myself. I'm almost a failure. Let me get my real estate license. I think I can do it.
1 second. Keep talking.
Go. So I get the license. Well, before that, 2 guys, realtors, came to my bar. One of them is a great mentor to this day. The other one recruited me to EXP. So that you'll kill it, you'll do great. And they brought me to. They really introduced EXP and introduced Paul to me, which is one of my biggest mentors, and definitely changed my life for the better. And so they introduced me XP. I do the real estate license with my brother. He passes the class. I pass the class. He didn't pursue it. He's a contractor now, like a superintendent assistant. Super proud of him because he left the union, which he was making peanuts, and now he's completely doubled his income, and I'm extremely proud of him for doing that. It's amazing. I always get off talking.
So like he was like your driving force, Paul?
What was it?
So like he was like your he was your driving force, correct? Paul
was the mentor, the main mentor that I had when I joined EXP. But these 2 other guys were working at EXP. They came to my bar, like, you're killer, you'll do great, we'll mentor you, blah, blah, blah. Get my license, fast forward, get my license, and sign up with Paul. And then those 2 guys that recruited me at Chili's left. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is how I'm starting. These guys just left me.
Yeah.
And Paul's like, you'll be fine. And then COVID hit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, these guys leave, COVID hits, I'm screwed. So essentially I just worked for free for 6 months, learned as much as I can, did anything I could for Paul to, really just prove I could do it. Yeah. Because I was bartending at Chili's, so I had the income, but I worked for free in real estate. I learned everything I can. The best thing you can do for yourself is be a sponge and soak up as much knowledge as possible, and that's what I did the first 6 months of real estate. I didn't care about a paycheck. I did rentals. Anyone who wanted a rental, I'll do it. I'll run all day for one rental commission check, half month's rent, like $1,200, make like $400, and I did it because I didn't care, because I knew it had to be done. Fast forward now, I'm under an amazing mentor, Mike Johnston, still with Paul, still taking Paul's guidance, which is, endless support. It's amazing. And Mike really just has the best mindset.
Let's backtrack real quick. So after the 6 months,
did I miss a part?
Yeah, I just want to hit the one part where you said after 6 months you're working for free. What changed? What really got you snowballing to make?
Okay, I'll tell you.
How big of like an incline did you start making?
Oh, okay, so I met Sean. So I met Sean at the Black Rose Pub in February for this EXP event. I was like, who's this quirky little fucking kid? Like, who's this guy? Like, I have a picture of him in the background of a picture. I'm like big boss next to Paul. I'm like, hey, look at me. I'm next to Paul. Who the fuck's this guy? Like, seriously.
I'm like $1.45 now. Like I was like $1.50.
No, seriously. Like, and this is the judgment of people that I released throughout my years of real estate because it was wrong. You shouldn't. Like, that's horrible. Judging someone just like that was horrible. I was like, oh, look at me.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to August or July. I don't know. COVID's over, whatever. And me, Sean, and this guy, Vitaly, just me in this office. I'm like, all right, guys, like, I get chills every time I tell this story because we didn't have shit. We didn't have nothing.
Here, bro.
What'd you have in your bank account?
Literally probably like $1,000.
I think I had like $1,200 maybe with like credit card debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And we're just like, all right, so we need to do something. So I signed up for Zillow. I start getting Zillow leads.
This was after the 6 months, right?
After the 6 months, when we finally can get together and finally decide to make money, because I saw these guys on Instagram crushing it throughout COVID. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I do that? So I meet with Vitaly, and then Sean comes in probably 2 days later, and we just start masterminding, dude. Like 3 young kids. Vitaly's like 24, I'm 23, 21.
You just said a huge key.
And we just
you just said, why can't I do it?
Yeah.
I think that's a huge shift.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we said. We're like, why can't we do that?
Well, everyone around us, like, you know, for our industry, like I'm sure you guys know, everyone around us is like 40, you know, like, or up. So, you know, you hold the real break is when you stop comparing yourself to the average and you start comparing yourself to like the above average or the extraordinary.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, your whole life changes because, okay, if you feel like you're like the shit here with the average people, guess what? You're not shit. Like, you have so much left to go, but it's the best thing ever because you expand your radius of what you can do.
Exactly. And
Definitely.
like, that's the one thing that I love. It's like everyone in my office is 26, 27, 30, and like I'm 18 while still in high school. So it's like I'm kind of competing because I have 2 deals coming up right now, and I'm on that leaderboard. Yeah. So it's like, my goal right now isn't to compare myself as an 18-year-old in high school. It's to compare myself as a businessman, an upcoming businessman who wants to be the top producer at that brokerage. Oh yeah. So it's all mentality, and especially what's going on with you right now. I mean, I can just see like the shift, just going throughout the whole story of you being some like shy, scared, insecure kid to being some like big boss baller.
It's like, it's pretty crazy because I'll say, like, I'll go back to the thing, like the programming. Like, I was programming myself to be this shy, insecure kid, and I didn't release that until maybe 6 months ago, or maybe very recently.
Dog, it's like an entire.
It's just so much unraveling and programming, and that I don't blame my parents for anything, but whatever they said or anything, or any friend said anything, it's still programming that I held on to. I may have not held on to, but my subconscious did. And it was there. And that shy, insecure kid goes into the real estate business now. So if I undo that programming, I can be the best motherfucker there is.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think one of the best like quotes I've heard about parenting is like, you can't judge them because they did the best job they could with the information they had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, keep in mind your parents like lived an entire different life before you, and now they have a person that they're responsible for, whether they understand the weight of that or they don't.
Dude, that's something I really have to deal with, and I'm still dealing with, but I'm getting a lot better with, is that as I start to throw myself into the world, I start to see like what a true human should be like and good qualities and things like that. And I would look back at my parents, I was like, why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you telling me that? And stuff like that. And I had a lot of anger to them, especially like my dad, and also a little bit my mom, but mainly my dad. And it was like a problem because I would say like, why can't you just be better? Because like I was like growing like at a rapid rate. I was like, I'm fixing this. Oh, this mentality shift, do that, go. And when you learn how to let people just be and understand, they did what they could with what they had, and just let that be. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's a Les Brown quote. Do you know that one quote that says like, if you wouldn't do it today, you're convicting an innocent man? Have you heard that?
No.
So
explain it.
Basically, if you judge yourself or judge anyone for the past, but you wouldn't commit that same act today, you're convicting an innocent person. You're punishing yourself for something you would not even do. You're not the same person. People change. Yeah. And that was such a hard thing for me to accept, like growing up, because I was like, you know, I can change. I can always be better. I can do this, but I would never give that to someone else. Because I would always expect the worst out of whatever. Because I always, you know, grew up depending on myself. But as I've started to like see that and like heal that part of myself, like I see amazing things from different people. Like his growth, like even Darian, since I met you, like I'm just meeting you now, but like you can see the legacy and the jump of gap to like who people can truly be in their truest selves, and it's pretty amazing.
It's programming. Just unraveling, and you'll do it like you don't even realize you're doing it. And I notice your growth, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, you're not the same person you were.
No, I don't think
you're not the same person you were yesterday. I mean, like, dude, like
changed my name. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. How we doing? Nice to meet you,
Pablo.
Yeah. Damn, that's wild, dude. Yeah.
Definitely.
Did I finish my thought?
I want to go back to just real quick. So you, Sean, and Vitali, you were in the room.
Yes. So I didn't finish that. So we were masterminding. We're jumping all over the place today. It's why we're here. So we were masterminding, just 3 guys. We're like, all right, how the fuck can we do this? Let's call people. So we literally download this thing called RedX, where it pulls numbers and addresses, and we literally have a script we're in a law office.
It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. Oh my god.
Room got so sweaty that what
was the boiler room?
We literally felt humidity. There was humidity on the windows.
Yeah.
We were so into it. So we didn't work out of the EXP office. We wanted the vibes that it was just us. No one can annoy us except the lady who would say that there's a closing.
Hey, this isn't. Hey, you don't own this spot.
She'd be like, hey, there's a closing. There's a closing.
So where's this again?
In short title. It's a title office. Yeah. They're like, hey, we have a closing in an hour. You have to leave.
Do you work in a lobby?
We didn't even have the big. Yeah, we worked in the lobby. We didn't even have the big room. We had this small this closing's probably $100,000 room. You know what I mean? It happened.
So we were in there masterminding, writing the scripts, and just doing our thing. And once we got I think it was so much that we did when we got comfortable on the phone. We got comfortable with real estate. We knew what to say because we were following a script. And every time someone got off the phone, I'm like, all right, Vitali, you go. Call. Okay, you can do this, because you can only see right here.
Oh, so the 3 of you were just
you literally don't know what you're doing. You do not know what you're doing wrong until someone tells you. And if you can't accept that constructive criticism, forget about it. You're done. What are you gonna do with your life? Seriously, if you want to improve and be a better human, listen to people that care about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Keyword: care about you.
Care about you.
Know better than you.
And take it. Yeah. Don't be offended, but really just take it and process it so you don't program the wrong things.
Correct.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt, whatever.
Yeah, because you all know you always know those people that you'll tell them something, they'll change their whole personality tomorrow.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, 100%. Exactly. Or they'll resent you for it. I mean, it's
funny. It's funny you say that because I unraveled my programming probably 2 weeks ago in Austin. I'll get to that story later, and people now are like, "Dude, you have the biggest ego ever." I'm like, "No, I don't have a big ego. I care about myself now. I never loved myself."
Yeah.
But I'll get on that later. Mm-hmm. We were in the boiler room doing this scripts, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. That's actually something we're trying to stop him from doing.
Yeah, I say blah 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 all the time because it's just I'm like, oh, that part of the conversation doesn't matter. We'll just skip forward.
We're filler words in our programming. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that shit all day.
Filler words.
Yeah.
Programming like the Matrix.
The Matrix. I'll get in that later too. But anyways, boiler room. We start closing deals. Somehow, I closed a Zillow lead. I'm like, oh my god, I just got $6,000. What the fuck?
A FSBO?
No, a Zillow lead. I actually did close a FSBO. Probably 2 months after that, I'm like, oh my god, I closed Zillow lead. I got $6,000. And then Sean starts closing things, and Vitali closes a townhome for $415. I'm like, oh my god!
And keep in mind, these leads are not the Zillow lead is the one case scenario, but these leads are shit. These are garbage.
Yeah, they're in the trenches. I bet.
Literally, we're not even paying for the program that gives you leads that says, hey, these people tried to buy or tried to sell or anything like that. We're literally taking an area and we're saying, hey, you live on A block, and these 20 houses are on A block. Hey, random lady at A block, do you want to sell your house?
No way.
We literally said,
and they said yes.
We literally say
that's what we're doing. You go through 5,000 people, someone's bound to say yeah.
It's a numbers game, baby.
And it was so good for the scripts though, because the whole thing about sales and anyone who's in a business or has done more relationship sales knows this. The fuck, you don't have a product, you don't have anything you could really give them. You know what I mean? Even if you do have a product, if I'm selling you this mug, I'm selling you this mug based off my relationship with you and your comfortability with me. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing that we actually have of value. So being able to talk to as many people as possible, that was everything.
Yeah.
Because you just were able to build the confidence. Because if I can't sell myself, how can I sell you? You know what I mean? So it was just it was definitely one of the big game changers.
Yeah, and it's so funny because we didn't know about this mindset thing that we're doing now. We just had all this
words.
Oh, we just had these words and we didn't realize like what we did when we were younger projected us then. But I'll like explain, like we literally called these people and said, hey, do you want to sell your house? Like, this house just sold at this price. It's pretty amazing. Do you want to sell?
Yeah.
And it was probably the wrong script and we were saying the wrong things, but it felt good because we felt like real estate agents.
Yeah.
Because all we were doing were rentals, and we wanted the big bucks. We wanted to do sales. We wanted to help people. Like, we probably weren't thinking about helping at that time. We were like, oh my God, money, let's close shit. But now,
I tried to help one there too.
But now it's just like, oh my God, like when this person closes on the house and the smile on their family, and when I can tell the seller that they're going to net this amount of money and they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. And it means so much more than a commission check.
Yeah. Literally the worst part of a transaction now is when it closes. Because like, go ahead.
I'm actually closing in like 8 days.
It's like,
so it's like I'm like I can't be more excited, and I don't want you to get my hopes up.
literally that will be the best part for you at that time. But
Yeah.
as you do more and more, like, you know, you've been what, like 5 or 6 under contract, 8 under contract. Like I've been 10 under contract. Like he's sold like, you know, like what, like probably like 3 million or 2 million in a month or whatever else. Like just a large amount of volume.
Yeah.
So you know you end up like loving the game so much that when it ends, and even if you get paid your reward, it's like, what the fuck? I'm like, you know, I don't
like, what do I do next?
Well, not even what I do next, but like the game is gone. Fuck, now I got to restart. You know what I mean? And it's not about the resetting, but it's like you just got to fall in love with it, man.
Yeah.
And like, and when you have to reset, it's like, okay, cool. So like that's part of the game as well. And so it's learning that that's part of the game, not just being like, shit, what do I do? You know.
So I'll mention like a Ryan Serhant quote that I love. It's just like,
I love Ryan
it's not a
Serhant.
quote. It's not a quote, but it's something that he says. I've read his book like. I've read his first book like twice, second book like 4 times already. It's just like such great knowledge. Never mind, forget about that. But it's how many balls can you keep in the air?
Yeah.
It's one drops, another one comes up. One drops, and you have 3 in the air. And when one drops, you're not so stuck to that ball because you have 5 in the air. So when we were doing this, and I still think about it to this day, how many balls can I get in the air? Because if one drops, I'm not so attached to that ball. It's obviously a horrible thing. Someone gets out of escrow, you know, but we'll find them another house and we'll do another transaction. People are so worried about the money, and you know, it's just like they're so connected to that one deal. There's so many.
So is that?
I was going to
go
add
ahead
to like the
add on to it.
Like the added part of that is not to look down when the ball drops.
Yes.
Don't sit there and worry about, oh, this person dropped out of escrow, you know, fuck, like I just lost $10,000. You never had the money.
Never had
You
it.
never
Yeah,
had it. It was
no,
never
I
in
know.
your bank account. Like we don't get paid on a W-2. We either perform and it closes, or it doesn't. Or you know, in certain situations you can only do as much as you can. So if you sit here and beat yourself up about it, understand you're taking away from the time that you could be helping someone else get what they want.
Correct.
And if you help them get what they want, then obviously you get what you want.
And it
all works out.
Yeah, that's like people just looking at a client. You meet a client as a buyer and you're like, hey, you're a paycheck.
No.
It's so wrong.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people in the industry that do that.
So would you say that that's what really separated you guys from like a typical agent? That's what really snowballed you into?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Caring and giving a shit is definitely
Give a shit and care, and don't worry about about the paycheck.
don't even worry about the outcome. You know what I mean? Like if you go and I'll give an example. So 2 or 3 weeks ago, I showed around this woman for literally $1,000 rental. And you know that means I get paid $300 maybe. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And right now, you know, I'm selling, you know, multifamilies, you know, single families, whatever else, and you know, getting paid a lot more or whatever. And I met her one time. I was like, cool, I'll help you out. I drive all the way down to Fort Lauderdale from our office in Boca Raton, and I show her this one rental. Her ex-boyfriend just so happens to be a developer up in New York that owns 3 community developments in Midtown Manhattan.
Wow.
Like multiply.
And you didn't know this at all.
Oh, I didn't know. You know, you're just going to help people.
Yeah.
And I get a random call from this guy, and he's like, hey, you know, I don't know, do you know Katie? Like, she's looking to, you know, buy a house, not buy a house, like, rent this, whatever. She really needs help and needs to be on the ball. And I'm like, yeah, I understand it needs to be on the ball, whatever else. So, he's like, all right, well, I don't know if you get it. He's just trying to communicate. He's trying to help her. I have no idea who this guy is. I'm like, who are you? I'm like, are you her? He's like, I'm a landlord. I'm like, her landlord? He's like, no. I'm like, so who are you? Like, what is this call about? And, I just am able to build like some form of relationship with him and also explain to him like, hey, I respect you. Thank you for calling me. I'm going to help her. I'm going to do my best due diligence, but also I run a business. So like your random call may not be like the best to sit here and tell me how to run a business. Like just because I don't know who you are. Like, and he called.
But you weren't disrespectful.
I wasn't disrespectful. Yeah. I was just very straightforward with him. Yeah. I told him I'm going to help her. I did. He calls me back later and he's like, hey, I have a listing for you. And I come over to his house over in Lighthouse Point, multi-million-dollar home. And he's talking to me about, wanting to rent out his guest house, rent out his main house or whatever else. And now we're helping him buy a restaurant like 3 weeks later, like over in like on Dixie in Boca Raton.
You never know.
And now he wants to buy, all these different multifamilies, have more stuff down here. I'm connecting him to other, commercial contractors that I've done work for in the past. I'm going to connect them. And, then I know other people in Palm Beach Island. So it just correlates together. But keep in mind, I met him who's worth tens of millions of dollars, if not more, most likely more, through $1,000 rental. And just trying to help someone.
$40. Got you. And then also, so when you say we, do you mean like you and Zach or?
No, I mean like Mike.
No, with Mike. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's doing the, what are you doing? You're doing the whole multi-family with Mike, right?
Yeah. So Mike's our mentor. I'll probably give a little bit of a preface to him. So Mike is a great man, just period, the end, just a great man. Yeah. He's been in sales for like 30, 40 years, never, passed like high school, like ever. Like, so he's just been in the game forever. He traveled around the country, learned Spanish while he's in some other, South American country. I forget where he was, but
I think it was like Mexico.
Yeah, I think he was in Mexico.
It was Mexico.
He was there for like a few years, and then he just like learned Spanish just from being there. And I was like, all right, cool. And so like he eventually comes over to, real estate. This whole time he's been, keep in mind, he never graduated high school, has been making over $150,000 his entire life just from sales, and he's always had bigger dreams and whatever else, goes into real estate, and within 3 years makes over $500,000 per that third year. This year he's set to make over $1 million. Like, he's an amazing human being, as well as he's obviously great at, talking to people. Because the whole thing, again, once I said earlier, we just sell relationships. We're in the relationship game. Mm-hmm. And so, he last year I met, like, when I was really started working with him and he became my mentor, he would talk on the phone and he'd be like, that fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. And he would be super angry. Yeah. And I was like, I love him. Like, I was like, cause like, when you're first starting and you're going after your ambition and whatever else, you don't know about the mindset. You don't know about the spirituality. You don't know about, the stress relief and like actually being a human fucking being. Like, that could be nice to be happy, right? Like, as well as make money.
Yeah.
And, I've seen him grow over the past year, literally night and day. Just the absolute most caring human being I know. And it's just like, just amazing.
Yeah, he like literally just started getting into like spirituality, or I think he's been into it. He's always been meditating and breath work with Barbara, and it's hard to welcome that life into you. Yeah, it's like once you welcome that life into you, you just find ways to cope. Well, not cope, just like reset. Like we just did that quick breath, and I'm sure that changed everyone's state. It's like if I can do that before every appointment, I'm sure I'm in a different state, because you're driving, you're blasting music, you're doing this, doing that. Hey, the nice house, sign this. Yeah. No, you need to be at the top of the triangle, which is what we learn. We both do a self-discovery class with the most amazing woman ever, Barbara, just to like learn to be at the top of the triangle.
So what's a triangle?
Yeah, so like
what awareness is at the top.
So there's limiting beliefs, awareness, neutrality, and then expansion. So, everyone has limiting beliefs from when you're a kid or from just being a human being. Things happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you go and you try to get in line to, buy some food, and then KFC tells you they close at 10 and it's 10:02. You're like, shit, now I have a limiting belief. I can't buy KFC, Yeah.
And
then, from that, you're able to release that by getting neutral. And then with that extra space that you have now, that's not paying you rent, you can just go and, you know, develop more of an expansion mindset.
Right. And everyone has on the unraveling, the inside of them, it's just like, what causes you to do that? What identity that you have? Everyone has their own identities. You have I had the insecure kid identity, because I would tell her my problems, what happens. Like, all right, what identity is that? I'm like, oh, you know, that just, and she's like, it's the insecure kid. I'm like, oh my God, it is. So we would do breath work, close our eyes and find where the tension is and breathe it out and release it. And I've been doing that work with this guy. His name's Jeffrey Combs, multi-million-dollar businessman, investor. I've been coaching with him since I started real estate, and I owe a lot of my success to him and where I am now to him, because he got me in the game of breath work, breathing, releasing, letting go. David Hawkins' Letting Go is one of the greatest books you can ever read. It's like you're in a fight with someone, and then you just have this sensation of laughing, like it's so funny.
So would you say the amount that you produce, both of you, is it more towards just your mental state rather than skill?
100%.
I'll say this one thing. A flourishing real estate business is the byproduct of your mindset.
Oh, yeah. Literally, like, that's what I was going to say. I was like, the skill is being your absolute self and being, like, just being you. 100%.
Yeah. Why are you this fake, big baller, egotistical real estate agent? That's such a, people see through that. It's such a,
that's one thing I saw a lot when I met Paul. Yeah. Because Paul, he does pretty decent numbers, like really, really well. He drives his Tesla. He's always
awesome.
Taking pain for everyone's lunches. Awesome. Great guy. And he's not that ego person. He's like, all right, guys, like, is everyone okay? Like, how are we doing?
Yeah, really, it's great.
Really
always
down to person. Yeah. And then you see that repetitiveness when you meet a successful person. So very, yeah, they're just genuine people.
Yeah, very caring. Very caring. So
you'd want to work with them. You know, like, you want to work with a human being. I remember when I first was making calls, like, before we all got together and stuff, and I'd be like, just like freaking out. I'd be like try to be as proper as possible. Like, I wouldn't curse. I wouldn't actually like tell him about my experiences. I wouldn't do anything.
Like, now he's like talking to this $1 million investor. Like, yes, fuck. Just like saying the most ridiculous things. I'm like, Sean, like, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, it's my $1 million investor. I'm like, I thought that was like your like buddy from high school or something.
But that's crazy.
It's so cool.
Everyone is just human.
People like real.
Yeah,
people like real.
Be genuine. Don't be this. Because when I got in, I'm like, I'm gonna be this big bad realtor because it's cool.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna get this Rolex. I'm like no.
It's funny you said that too, because when you started, you had that big ego, taking picture next to Paul and everyone, and then now you make as if you had that ego.
Yeah. And the work that we've been doing, we just joined this Danny Morrell program, who is the biggest egotistical maniac realtor in the world. Now he found plant medicine, and now he's just like enlightened, and he was helping people through his mind. He's like, I'm gonna help this person, but realistically it's gonna be for me, because I'm going to get my name in that help somehow. But now, after this big journey that he's had, you should see him before. He had the Aston Martin posted up.
Oh, yeah.
We just got back from Austin, Texas for his big event, and he missed his kid's birthday for this photo shoot with his Aston Martin. And then he went on the spiritual journey after a bunch of things happened with his family. And now this guy truly helps people from the heart. And like,
it's double his business.
It's crazy. He doesn't even sell real estate anymore. Yeah. Like he has a course.
He sells himself.
Yeah, he has a course. True. Does mindset. I mean, what else does he do?
The whole thing is that he sells a lifestyle. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as far as like bougie or anything like that. Like, hey, like, I was talking to Zach about this on the way here. Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool if we could just be happy? Like, isn't that like really the end goal for anything? Right. Like the money, whatever else. Like, we come into this world with nothing. It's nice to have a game to sit here and try to get as much as we can. Like, it just makes actual sense if we came in with nothing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I just want to go home and sleep and like be happy. Like, when I go to sleep and wake up and be happy and continue that feeling all the way throughout the day. And if that looks like me fishing out in some random canal, or if that looks like me, you know, in a helicopter going to my house in Dubai, like, you know, whatever that is, but as long as that's personal for you, like, I think that's what really counts.
Yeah, man. Dude, that's so cool.
100%. I mean, everything he's been teaching us is just the unraveling of the programming, and Barbara does that too, just so we can rewire ourselves to really be our highest self. You want to be your highest self. You don't want to be this fake programmed person with traumas until you die. Like, why would you want to hold on hate for someone until you die?
I'm so curious, like, what's the process to finding first and then unraveling and then reprogramming? Like, that's the human goal.
You need, personally, people say I could be wrong, but I believe I can only see what's right here. I said that earlier. I can only see. But when Barbara and this guy Jeffrey Combs, when I started really learning about myself, pointed out why I did this, what identity that I've had, like the insecure kid, the kid that was, obviously a parent's divorce is very traumatic. That kid that went through the divorce and whatever. It's like that programming, and you just release it. And they taught me how to breathe. You find it, you breathe it out, and you let go of it. It's like such a process, but there's layers to every programming. It's like an onion. Like you release one part of it, and then you'll go back and breathe it out the next day, and it's just layers and layers and layers.
Yeah, I think there's levels to what makes like a successful person. Yeah. Like I would say like level 1, and I think it all just has to come down to stress, like how you handle stress. Like level 1 just means you have a high capacity. You're either born with it, you make it like you experience it and you just create a high capacity, or you don't. And then your ability to focus with that stress. Yeah. So, level 1 is just being able to have a high capacity, have a big bank worth of being able to hold stress. Level 2 is being able to understand how to deposit and withdraw the stress. So where you can take away, your stress by doing certain activities, whether that be meditating, journaling, affirmations, things like that. The most successful people have gotten so good at level 2 at withdrawing the stress from their life and depositing extra things that actually, preferred thoughts that are positive, expansive, happy, that they're just maintaining. They're, they're at their job. Elon Musk, yeah, of course he's probably stressed, but do you think he's really stressed on his real vision? Like when he really goes to work, like you don't think he's not happy to go to work for like 100 hours a week. Mm-hmm. On a true level, if you took that away from him, he'd probably freak out. And not just because the fact is that he would freak out and break as a person, but also because like that's just who he is. He's living his true ideal of what he wants to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really, the hierarchy. Yeah.
I just want to say, just for you don't have to, but just for the flex, I want to know, obviously you start like from nothing. Yeah. What is your like monthly average now?
It's so like off and on. It's so funny because I'll get into my average, but it's so funny.
Like medium.
No. Yeah. So I'll say this first. It's so funny because I'll be like, Sean, I'm having a fucking sick month right now, dude. And then he's like, fuck, I'm having such a horrible month. And then like the next month I'll be like, this is the worst dude, month of my life. I'm depressed. It sucks. And he's like, bro, I just closed like 50K gross. I'm like, and it's because our business is like so opposite. It's so funny because we just do this. I think it's just me, or it's you, or it's every realtor in the world. Like you're building up all this momentum. You have 10 under contract, you have 8 under contract. It all closes, and then that month it closes. You're not creating new business, so the next month you're slow.
Is that your weak point now that you're working on?
Oh, for sure. There's so many parts that we're working on. It's so funny, but of course. I think my biggest month was like 60K gross.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
23.
And what would you say is your biggest month?
I'd probably say my biggest gross was like 50K, and obviously 21. How would you express this, Liam? Like I feel like. Jesus,
so cool.
It's insane. Absolutely fucking insane. It's so because once you start making a certain amount of money, you forget at all what it means. Yeah. Like stop.
No, it's so weird.
Like you tell people and you're like, yeah, 50 grand. But keep in mind, we sell things for millions of dollars a month.
Correct.
So it's like 50 grand. It's like, all right, well, that was a sliver of whatever we sold. You know what I mean? So you don't really think of it as a big deal.
Multi-millions every month, basically.
Oh, for sure. Oh, definitely, hands down. Millions. So like, you don't even think about how big of a concept it is, and then you're like, shit, like.
Yeah.
Like my mom made like 40 grand last year. I was like, fuck, I was like made that last month. I was like, you know what I mean?
It's I really thought like 100 grand was so much money, and it's like, wait. Like, we don't have a box around us. We can do millions of dollars. But the only thing that stops us is
Armand.
The 6 inches between whatever the right here.
Yeah,
this is what stops you from making $1 million in free enterprise sales.
And that's what I was going to say earlier is like, I think when everyone gets in that phase, you know, you have to be a really good worker in order to be a good boss. Yeah. So as we were working to become like a really good worker, you know, having a $60,000 a month, having a $50,000 a month, you learn, you know, not only how to be like a great employee, and then you're like, oh shit, like I have so much going on that you just lose sight of everything else. Now we're more of like a business owner mindset. And so now it's like, I dedicate my time strictly to this, and this at these times.
Yes.
Like my voicemail right now says, hey, it's Sean. Thank you for giving me a call. You know, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get back to you right at the moment, but you know, I answer my voicemails and review them and call them back between the times of 1 and 3 p.m. daily. So if you don't hear from me today, you'll hear from me tomorrow. Because that is how my day is set up.
Yeah.
Like, I will get back to you when I can, but I cannot run a business with the I'm freaking out with my like chicken with the head cut off.
Yeah, I don't want
structure.
Yeah, I don't want to speak on you, but like, speak on me. Like, I don't want to be a salesperson my whole life. I want to be a CEO. I want to be leveraged. I don't want to be opening lockboxes forever. I love helping people. I love everything, but obviously I need to take care of myself first. I'm going to do the work now. If it takes 15, 20, 30 years, I don't know how long it'll take. It'll be perfect. I realize that every single thing in your life is perfect after whatever happened in Austin, what happened a few weeks before. Everything is so perfectly aligned and you don't even realize it. Because everyone is so disconnected from their life. They're so disconnected from reality. Once you reconnect and you realize that everything is perfect and you have no control over the outcome, that's when your anxiety and stress will go away.
What's your definition of perfect?
There is no definition of perfect.
I feel like that's the definition of perfect. Like
that's the definition of perfect.
Being okay with the outcome.
Being okay with the outcome. It's perfect. No matter what happens.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm just going to go back to what you said before about closing and making like 50 to 40K a month. I'm actually closing on my first deal in 8 days, and it's like I feel like the first paycheck is like the most ecstatic one.
Oh my!
Just because of the fact that it's like I worked my ass off getting this for sale by owner on Zillow. Like I worked my absolute
that was your first
ass
deal?
off. Yes,
that's fantastic. So when I closed my FSBO, it took me 5 months to get the deal.
Stop.
It took me 5 months to get the FSBO because I didn't know anything, and me and this guy just hit it off. This guy was a cool, big Italian guy out of like. Italian guy out of like I don't know, like Boston or no, not Boston. Maybe like I don't know. It doesn't matter. Maybe like North Carolina or something. But anyways, like we hit it off. We were talking about football, talking about this, talking about that, talking about this. And he's like, "All right, Zach, I think it's time. I'll give you the listing." We crossed off everything on that listing agreement just to make sure he was in favor. I'm like, I don't care, whatever you want. I'll take full liability for everything. Probably not the best thing to do, but I wanted it so bad. I knew I was the one to sell his apartment. There were 5 people on the deed. Each person had to sign the listing agreement, every document. You know, it was probably one of my proudest sales because it took so long to get, and they were so happy because we netted them the most amount of money possible, and they got rid of the most annoying asset that they've ever owned. Like, it was a rental property, and it was just sitting there with a $1,000 HOA, and they're like, "I'll just get rid of this thing." It was on Zillow for like 6 months.
I think your first sale is always your most interesting one.
Yeah.
Like tell me about yours.
Well, I mean, for me, it's like I saw the Zillow lead and it said that it was being listed for $291, and it was a townhouse in Parkland. So I'm like, what's going on here? And I call him up and I'm like, "Hey, like I know you're listing this for sale by owner, but it's like." I told him like what the like because he was kind of young, he was kind of cool. I'm like, "What the hell are you doing? I mean, like this property is easily worth $310 and above." And I say, "Hey, let me stop at your house at 5 o'clock. We'll talk." So I get a listing appointment there. The night of, we get a listing agreement, and then after that, we do an open house that weekend.
Not like mine.
What?
Not like mine.
I know, right? So it was quick, but everything I do is straight to the point.
Awesome.
I mean, I have it down to a T. So I'm like, okay, so we'll get it. We'll get photos on Thursday. We'll stage it Friday. We'll do open house Saturday and Sunday. The open house, the first day, we got an offer for $320, and
God, blew their list price out of the park.
Blew it.
And you're 18.
Yeah.
Prime.
So I was like, this is absolutely perfect. And then we
perfect.
Yeah, and then the buyers were so willing to have the home that they waived the inspections and they waived appraisals.
Damn.
And they paid 40 grand over.
And that was the best feeling in the world, huh?
And I mean, at least for me, because it's like, I mean, if you peel back the layers, like what the fuck do I know about real estate?
Yeah.
Like
don't know.
I got my license 2 weeks ago. What the hell do I know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it's just for you guys, and you guys know this, it's confidence game.
And that's motivating for us too.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking in my head right now, let me go call a fucking FISBO.
Yeah.
Like,
Do
I'm
it.
Thinking the same thing.
I do that. I do that every day for an hour.
I'm thinking that much.
Every day for an hour. So it's like I structure my day Monday through Friday every day for an hour. And then I door knock basically every day for an hour.
That's fantastic.
So
Oh man, it's a hustle. I mean,
yeah.
My first deal, but like, see, that's a unicorn. You know, like you never would have thought like, holy shit. So like, there's an underpriced FISBO. What the fuck? Like that never happens. You know what I mean? Like,
true.
Like great. You did it, but it's like. That's like the whole thing. I think I hear about everyone's first deal. It's always like some random crazy shit. You took like a FISBO and you're like, hey, I can sell your house for more, and I can like sell your house for like 40 grand more. And you did it in like a week, and you've only had your license for a month.
Yeah.
Like my first deal,
Beautiful.
I got a call from a guy, random call. I think it was from like a referral. I got a call from a guy that said, hey, I'm coming down right now. Keep in mind, this is 7:30 in the morning. I'm in the shower. And he's like, hey, I just came down. I just got off my plane right now. I want to go take a look at a few houses, and will you go show me? Okay. Like, and so I hop out. I'm showing him properties at 8:30, like that morning, and like, and I'm showing him some random bullshit. He's like, I only have an hour, and I need to see it right now. I show him some random, properties. If you're able to see a property within an hour, it's probably a shit property. Like, it just is what it is. And he's like, man, these aren't the quality that I was looking for. I was ready to buy right now. And I was like, and I'm so new, like so fresh. I'm like, I'm just taking it. I'm just taking it.
You don't even know how much money in the bank.
Yeah.
What's an appraisal? What's a pre-approved?
Wait, you're pre-approved?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't like for my first 6 months. I didn't even know what like a title company was. Like I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I literally like took this woman out to show her house. Like 2 weeks off, Paul just threw me this lead, like 2 weeks off my license test. And then like I show her 5 houses. She's like, all right, I want to put an offer. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know how to do that. So I hit up Sherry, our contract, legal mentor.
She was like our mentor for
like, all right, how do I do this? And she's like, did you ask for the pre-approval letter? I'm like, did I ask for the what? So I'm like, all right, I need to ask this woman for a pre-approval letter for this house. She's gonna get so offended.
It's such a big deal, man.
And you just create this drama, this trash in your mind. You're like, I'm gonna ask her for this pre-approval. She's gonna get so offended. It's gonna be the worst thing in the world. Why am I a real estate agent? Like, am I in the business of offending people? I'm offending her money. It's gonna be horrible. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I finally did it. Can you please send me that approval letter? I'm just waiting for like an hour, 2 hours. No response. I'm like freaking, sweating, freaking out. She goes, yeah, no problem. I'll send it to your email. It's like the drama that you build in your mind and you've always built in your mind is just so fake. It's just a story you tell yourself. And after this like big mindset journey we had in Daniel Morell's program, I actually put a story in my mind when we were at lunch. Giant line behind us. We're in the cash register, ready to check out. It was like a Chipotle style restaurant. They have like 2 workers back there, giant line. And I noticed that we were kind of like messing around, kind of waiting to check out. And I thought in my head, like, do these people think like we're the reason why it's so slow? And I told Sean about it. He's like, dude, that was just a story you put in your head. I'm like, oh yeah, you might be right about that. And I think I was aware of it, and then I mentioned it to you that I was like, this might have been a story that I was telling myself, and just being aware of that story and being aware of what you do.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the big things.
Being aware.
Being aware.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then learning the process of like how to handle it. Yeah, how to handle it or how to eliminate it, whatever you're doing.
I'll tell another story real quick, and then I'll let you tell your thought. This morning, we have our meeting. We have our group chat on Facebook. Our group is so fucking amazing, dude. Yeah. Oh my God. Everyone is so the same person. We write affirmations every morning. We all meditate. meditate is the most amazing thing you can explain transcendental meditation very soon.
I want to hear about that.
Oh my gosh, this guy is like enlightened, like, woo, like amazing.
Not as many hands. Yeah, it's pretty good.
What the hell was I saying?
You were talking about our team. You were saying
our team is so amazing.
Yeah.
And I honestly lost my train of thought, truthfully.
No, you were saying the Danny Morel, and then things that you learned, and then your team, and then the morning meetings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
okay, I'll get back to it. The morning meetings, I was explaining how perfect our team is. The team's literally perfect. That I texted them, I'm running late. There's so much traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like 10 minutes late. There's so much traffic. Then I just, right when I sent that text, I was like, the traffic's not the fucking reason why I'm late. The reasons why I'm late is because I extended my workout longer than it should have been, and I snoozed one time. Why the hell am I making excuses?
Yeah.
Unraveling the programming, and that goes to your real estate business. Why did I procrastinate writing this offer for this person? Why did I procrastinate this? Why did I procrastinate that? And it's just unraveling, and being aware is how you get rid of all these problems that people have in their life. And when you have this victim mentality that everyone's just like you're right, like everyone's so wrong, and once you release that mentality, I think you'll be all right. So
I think it's so funny because it's so simple. Like, and how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? Like,
whoa.
Like
it's so true though.
It's so true. Like,
yeah.
And that's why it's so important. Like, I talk about stress a lot because like I was just stress ridden. I thought that's what like life was. I was like,
yeah,
all right, cool. Like,
I was proud of my stress.
I was proud of my stress.
I have anxiety.
Yeah, I was like,
put a badge on
Yeah.
my like.
I was like, look how much I can
Anxiety. This is
handle. Like,
awesome.
why do I have to handle anything? What the?
I've
fuck?
been in the office from 8 to 8. Take my badge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
just stuff like that.
Yeah. And like, you have these revelations. You know what I mean? like you like little things, little conversations. You learn one big sentence, and that's the grander picture. Like, okay, like maybe I can be enlightened. You know what I mean? Like some SpongeBob rainbow shit. And but then it's the little moments, the little conversations that you have with the girl at like Chipotle. That's like,
Yeah, bro.
yeah, like, I've just been having such a stressful day, blah, blah, but now I feel so much better. And she says like one small thing, and it changes your entire perspective, and you can appreciate that one little thing so much more, and it changes your entire life, and it happens all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, and it's amazing. And those are like the little moments, and those will be the shifts. Sometimes you're going through a growth phase, whether it be a money or your business or whatever else. Other times you're growing as a person, and a lot of times it's hand in hand. I would probably say for like my second quarter and stuff, it was like my business was like just taking off. Now, like I would say, or my first quarter, my business was just taking off. Second quarter, I did pretty good, did really good, but mostly it was just like mental growth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was mental, spiritual, being okay with things, and actually embracing them, not just being like, fuck yeah. Like I used to get mad at myself for feeling mad. Like, I'm like, shouldn't I, like, now I know these techniques, shouldn't I be better than this?
Oh, I do it all the time. I'm at that place right now.
For sure.
Yeah. I get mad at myself all the time when I get mad.
Yeah. Or like mad, angry, stressed. You're like, damn, like I should be better than this.
Be aware.
Not because you're obviously
You're
better
aware.
than anyone else, but you're aware, and you know that you can command a better version of yourself.
Command.
But you'll get to a point. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I've gotten to a point now to where I don't even judge it. Like, there's automatic thought and there's actionable thought. Automatic thought is the stuff that comes up when you first wake up. You're stressed out. If you are, whatever your thoughts are, it's like, fuck, like that deal didn't close, or like, this other thing, or whatever. And it just comes in, and you have the choice. You have the choice right then and there to continue that thought and go down that rabbit hole or not. Like, I think of it a lot as like a book. You can't judge a book by its cover, so you have to let the thought go. You have to sit there and play through the thought. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you have to read the trilogy. Like, you don't have to sit here and be like, oh, like I'm so stressed out that didn't work out. Fuck that person, and also fuck me because I just wasn't good enough because I did this and did that. You don't have to buy the story, man. Mm-hmm. Like, and if you do want to do that, you can do that per whatever thought you want. It's preferred. And, let's say you have a thought that comes in like, wow, man, I just closed that deal. I just got exactly the type of client I want. This girl was amazing, blah, blah, blah. And now, like, you can like work on that thought, and it becomes more of like an affirmation, like journal, like based, like type, like strategy that works in your mind almost, because you're reconfirming that thought, and those are the thoughts that you let go on forever. And you just feel amazing throughout the day, and you don't have to have that stress because you realize that the thoughts that you're having are just a release of the stress you had, and you don't judge them as a stressful thought. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, when you think and you're like, fuck, like I lost on that deal, that's your mind releasing stress. But if you sit there and hold on to that and you go down the rabbit hole, you're actually constricting and you're creating retention for that stress, and you're only letting it go like this, and it never gets fully let go, and you're actually making it worse. If you just fully accept
and feel it, close your eyes and hold, like when you hold that breath, you can feel the tension in you, and you look at the tension without judgment. And it's just like,
and it releases.
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's amazing.
And you realize that you haven't thought about, at the end of the day, like that thought at all.
Yeah.
Because it was fully released. And then you have so much more open space. And that's what I was talking about earlier about like the different levels of stress, and how you handle it and how you like take on different things. Stress and focus are on a pendulum. If you're fully stressed out, you'll notice you can't focus. Like you can only stress out about that one thing you're doing. So if you're able to be fully focused, that means your stress is probably not there, or you're not noticing it.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that. And so when you think of that as kind of like a barter system with yourself, hey, like release the stress. Cool. I have so much more time to be focused and be the truest version of myself. And also understand, if you're an entrepreneur or you're a warrior or whatever the fuck you are, if you're a fucking killer, like you will, your automatic state, you don't have to convince yourself that you are that, because if you truly know that, you will do that. So your focus will automatically go to those things. I'm a great, salesman. I'm a great person. I'm a great whatever. You will automatically embrace that and become that, and everything will be better because of it.
This guy's just dropping bombs,
right?
Dude. It's like just just believing that you said it. You just believe that you're it, and you're it. And going back to the journaling, you dropped journaling. Our whole team does journaling every morning. Yeah, we do 5 things we're grateful for, like 5 things or 3 things that we made us happy in the last 24 hours, 10 or 15 affirmations. And once you write those down and reread them, it's like, oh my God, that made me happy. Like, and that was in the morning. You want to program your mind in the morning. And I believe before you go to bed, I really try and think about affirmations before bed, because if you're looking at Instagram and toxic things on Twitter and politics before bed, you're going to wake up and still have that thought. Yeah. And then if you don't journal and you just go in your daily life and live in this matrix program, you're just another one of them. Yeah. And you're just going through it, and you're going through the motions, and you do it again and again and again and again until that one person in your family that decides to break that, starts journaling their thoughts, doing affirmations, and you break out of the programming. And have you guys ever done motivators in high school or middle school before?
What's that?
A motivator? Yeah. Have you done one?
No.
So in my high school, when you would get in trouble, they would give you a motivator. It would say, let's say I yelled out some stupid shit, because I always did in high school. I didn't give a fuck. Like, I always said funny things. Probably why I didn't I liked being that guy, because I was insecure.
Yeah.
Like being funny, cracking jokes. And I would write, I will not yell again in class. I will not yell again in class 100, 200 times.
I think you started telling me about that, yeah.
And then I'm like, oh my God. Once you're finished, you're like, all right, I think I won't yell in class anymore. And you program your mind that you won't yell in class. So let me flip this over. I'm 23 now. What if I write, I make $300,000 a year, 25 times every day for 365 days? I'm going to program my mind that I make $300,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
I think it's super important also to like give the give and take of that. Like affirmations journals are like maintenance for your mind. So, you clean your room once. Everyone has that day where you're like, fuck yeah, I feel fucking awesome. I wish I could feel like this every fucking day. And then, keep fucking maintenance with that. Because if not, your room's going to get fucking dirty again, and you're going to be a piece of shit.
Like, 2 weeks to build a habit.
Yeah, build a habit.
2 weeks.
Build a habit. So, like, you have to just make sure, like, that's what affirmations and everything are really for. Yeah. But also on the give and take on that, you don't want to punish yourself either.
No, you want to feel good about it.
You want to feel good about it, because we talk about this. We have this one girl, like Randy, at our job. She's an assistant for the entire team. And we work on the things we said, because it's how you communicate, is how you should, the only 2 things you have is who you are and how you communicate that to the world. So, we talk about exactly what words we're using and everything else. I say blah 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 a lot. I think of it as efficiency. You don't. That's not,
it gets through the conversation.
Gets us through the conversation.
Yeah, I lose you every time.
But he loses me every time. Because it takes away my even caring for the conversation, because I'm just cutting pieces out. Blah, blah, blah. So if I don't care, why would you care?
Yeah.
But she says it's weird. Like a lot, right? And
it's weird.
She's like, oh, that's so weird. But, you don't like. I told her this the other day. I was like, don't beat yourself up about saying like it's weird either, because you're actually putting more energy to it by making it like that. I'm like, sometimes shit is weird. I'm like, you can say the word. Like, don't feel bad about it. But if you beat yourself up about it, if I say, oh, it's so weird, actually it's not weird. Guess what I just said? I said weird twice when I would have only said it once.
Yeah.
And now I have this repeating pattern, and I judge myself every time about it. You want to release as much fucking stress as possible. You'll figure it out. Just have a preferred thought, or that's my whole big thing. Like, just have a preference. It's not about, going absolutely one way or absolutely another way. Just have a preference on what you want for your life, and I promise you that little push will guide you exactly where you're going.
Nuggets, bro.
Bombs, nuggets. Baby.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
Meditation talks, meditation matters, baby.
Yeah.
Really? This is the spiritual,
matter.
Make the second channel.
No. But I never thought about that. Like it's self-discovery to equal money.
That's exactly what we do.
So that's what I'm getting from you guys. It's like being a human versus being with the program.
You want to be aware at the top of the triangle, and you want to be open to hearing an audit, pretty much. Like, you want, again, in Ryan Serhant's book, be audited by people you care for, and take the criticism and run with it.
Yeah.
If this guy tells me I smell in the office, thank you for telling me I smell. Thank you. Yeah. If I have lint on my shirt, thank you for telling me. If my outfit's bad, thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get offended. Just
so why is it any different for like when you're being a person?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And being aware and opening, just oh God, like if everyone can just think like this, world would be amazing.
Well, it's a
but yeah, I'll go like
it's a process, man.
And you also mentioned like the conversations you had with that girl in Chipotle, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was a real story.
That was like a semi-real story.
I actually had a very similar story. I was in Publix yesterday, actually getting a pub sub. This dude in a little shopping cart, like the motorized shopping cart, pulls up, like he's basically touching my leg, and I was like, it's too weird to not say anything.
Yeah.
So instead of saying like, yo, what's good, I was like, what's your favorite sandwich? Just
awesome.
And
awesome.
He was just like, because he saw I was getting the chicken tender, so that's what you get. And then he's like, I used to get the chicken tender stuff, but the cholesterol is too high. And then we started talking about how like we want stuff more when we can't have it, and then that got us into like a conversation about like the age difference and like the mentality of like older people to younger people, and how like we should like be growing together instead of like trying to have different like mentalities. But it was like this crazy deep conversation. Well, I'll get my sandwich made. I'll get some Chipotle sauce on that. Thank you. Yeah. And then it was nuts. But after I walked away, we both looked at each other like, what's your name? He's like, my name's Bill. I said, I'm Darian. He said, nice to meet you. And we both just went our separate ways, but we both kind of felt that like, that's what life's about, bro.
Awesome.
Like,
just sharing thoughts and
those moments, bro.
Holy shit, this is like a Gary Vee moment.
So cool. Oh my god.
This is like a Gary Vee.
I did like Gary Vee until he said grind. Everything's a grind. Ugh. Like, how gross is the word grind?
Yeah. Okay.
It's gross. I don't want to grind. I want to be leveraged.
Yeah. No, but he backtracked that. Yeah. There was one show.
Go back. Say your thought.
There's one track that he backtracked because I didn't listen for a while when he started saying that. And then he said, grind throughout the hours that you're awake. And then he clarified it because he said he sleeps 8 hours a day every single day. He's never not slept 8 hours a day. He said that. And he said grind. And I don't like how he uses the word grind. So I think that's a very ugly word.
Gross.
But the premise of what he's saying is like, you shouldn't be just watching the football game when you have to work. And sure, you have to take time for yourself, but when you're in the gutter, like where we have been, or like it's just like you don't have anything else but you need to go up, you shouldn't be chilling out watching a football game. You should be making more calls, and that's what he was prefacing to.
For sure.
So that's where I got my respect back, because I was the exact same way.
Definitely.
I had to stand up for him real quick.
No worries at all. I do believe everyone should put the work in. Put the work in, but do you want to do that until you're 40? Until you're 80, 70? Like, grind. then you die.
I was gonna say I'm on the other end. Like I like love Gary Vee, like hands down.
Yeah, no, he's like the definition of positivity.
Oh, 100%. I think that, he speaks to.
Just kidding. I do like the guy. He's a good guy.
He speaks to everyone that's a beginner.
Really is.
You know what I mean? There's beginning grinding. I used to go when I was like 16, 17, 18, and I would go to my friend's house and we'd smoke in his fucking Volvo outside that was broken down in like the middle of the hood like every night.
Yeah.
Like, we'd order some Domino's. I'd throw up because I drank some Bond water. Like I was done. Like, but now don't do that as often. But a little bit more successful. But there's a shift between how much you're working.
Yeah.
And I think the grind is such an important part. I think it doesn't play as much of a role like maybe in our life now as much because
we still do put in work.
No,
we can definitely say when you were in the boiler room, that was grind.
We still put in work.
Yeah.
We put in work now, but it's who we are.
Yeah.
I think grind and effort are
two different things.
are two different things.
100%.
So I think it's more of the effort than the grind.
100%.
I think it's more of
That's fair.
heart and inspiration. I don't want to grind because I'm angry and because I have to. I want to do it because I'm inspired to be better. And seriously, like this is the stuff that we've been working on the past few months. Like all these bad words, all these words like grind, it's like, are you inspired?
But it's true. I mean, you don't have to work as hard. Like
if you're inspired, you're not grinding.
When you've been also doing it for a while, when you get good, like you learn. So we're adaptive human beings. This is what we do. We get better, or we should be getting better. If not, we're going in a different direction. But either way, it's escalating. So as you get better, you have to make less calls. You have to have less contacts in order to get the same conversions you were getting when you were worse. So the effort, you know what I mean, and that's where the different game becomes, is keeping that same level of effort when getting the results for less. And that's what keeps people in the same momentum. They're like, all right, cool, I've been making $100,000 every year for the rest of my life. And those are the $100,000ers. You don't think if you can put from $30,000 to $100,000 that you can make $1 million?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You'll do it with half the effort. But they're like, cool, I made $100 and I'm humble. And not humble, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm content with my life. No. I'm content with my life, but that doesn't mean I'm settling.
I was about to say, like, the worst thing you can ever do is be satisfied.
And comfortable.
Yeah, comfortable kills, and that's the one thing I like. Yes, I praise for. I would say my inspiration for comfort is probably David Goggins, just because I don't know if you heard his story, but the worst thing that he ever got in his life was he was working a high-paying job. He was comfortable with his living situation, but he never felt like he was great. Yeah. He was comfortable, but he wasn't great. Yeah. So I think comfort kills.
We talked about this, like
comfort kills.
Want to get into it?
Well, we talked about this a few months ago, even like with just cars and stuff.
Not a week ago, probably.
I feel like we talk about this pretty often.
A month ago, how comfortable I was, and then went through that shit.
Not even just okay. I'm gonna tell them. I'll let you tell them about your apartment. Okay, so there's a few things.
Yeah.
As far as cars, like I drive around like this blue Honda Civic, like 2020. I pay $240 a month on my lease. Like. Really, like I make tens of thousands of dollars a month. If I wanted to drive around like a really nice like Porsche, I could. I just don't, but it's to keep that same, mentality and everything else. But also, not to be scared of what you have the opportunity to like make. This man literally had like $25,000 in his account. I moved out with nothing.
I'll
in
say
my
the
account.
story if you.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Yeah.
So this guy moved out. Were you finishing a thought, or do you want me to just finish it?
No, I mean, I feel like that I was going in that direction.
Okay, yeah. So this guy moved out, like 20 years old when you moved out. Yeah, 20 years old. He's 21 now. And I see him moving out. I'm like, damn, like I just closed. That's when I had my first biggest month, which was probably 50K gross. Maybe 50K, 50, 45, give or take, gross. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Then I paid off some bills, paid off some credit card, and I had 25K in the bank account. I'm like, okay. I have 25K, and this guy Sean moved out already. I'm like, Sean, like how? What do I do? Like, I need to move out. My ex-girlfriend now wants me to move out. I don't know what the fuck to do. And he's like, dude, move the fuck out. I did it. I'm like, how'd you do it? Like, how much money did you have in the bank? When did you do this? Drama building, right. Asking questions when I knew the answer inside of me all along. Why am I going outside sources to find the answers that I already know? Yeah. I knew what I had to do. And he's like,
you need approval.
Yeah, I needed approval. I needed answers. And I was like, I have 25K. I have a few deals closing, and Sean just says the biggest thing that changed my whole, I wouldn't say like changed my life, but changed my whole like mindset. He just goes, I literally was walking around my neighborhood with like 5-inch shorts, Birkenstocks, and like a massive shirt, just like on the phone, like freaking out, like, what do I do? How do I move out? How do I move out? You did it. You're 20. And he just goes, dude, do you not believe in yourself? And I'm like, oh my God, a 20-year-old just told me I didn't believe. A 20-year-old just, to me, like didn't go through this giant change I went through in the past few months. Month or two. And this 20-year-old just told me I don't believe in myself. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, do I not believe in myself?
Yeah. And this man has 25 grand in the bank.
Do I not believe?
The rent he's looking for is like $1,400 a month. I was like, man, you can pay this off for the next 2 years. Like, what are you worried about?
You can only put it all down right now.
Do you not believe you're going to make $1,400 a month?
That hurt.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was so amazing because I was just like, I was going to move in with her. And I made sure I could afford it.
He was gonna get a second bedroom.
A second bedroom. I was like, oh my God, because I could afford it. I didn't believe that I could afford it. I didn't know, and I was like, she's gotta split it with me. I was freaking out, even though she was gonna split it with me. She never ended up moving in. I moved in by myself. Whole another story. Doesn't matter. But I can afford it, and I'm totally fine. And all that drama and stress that was building up before the move-in, and even before I was thinking about it, is gone. It's null and void. Yeah.
I think you're missing a few key points of that story.
I don't know. You tell it.
So also for the rent, like he was like, Sean, should I get a 2-2? Should I get a 1-1? I was like, what are you gonna 2-2 for? He's like, well, what if my friends come and sleep over and whatever else? I was like, do they pay you fucking rent? Like, what? Like he's gonna spend extra $300 a month to get a 2-2 because like his friends or whatever else. But then, it just shows also, like, you can see how much he's grown from like asking that, to like where he's at now. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I hope you're comfortable with me talking about this, but like his girlfriend was also gonna move in with him. And then all of a sudden, and then she didn't.
Yeah.
And it was all up to him.
Yeah.
And then he moved. And then we've it's never been a thing since, really.
It's
like not in that regard. Like,
except when FPL turned off my power yesterday because I forgot to pay the bill.
Yeah. Wait, that actually happened?
I was literally in my bed, like on like TikTok or some shit, just scrolling, fucking loving life. I'm like, this is so fun. My FPL went off. I'm like, and I saw the notice in my email. It's like, pay your bill. I'm like, whatever. Like, and like, it's not an issue, but it's just like, like maybe I should pay that. Yeah. And I like, so this is
adult life.
Yeah. So
it's funny, man. Like,
it was hilarious.
As you like have more, like the reluctancy doesn't come to like, fuck, I don't have the money like how it used to be. It used to be like, fuck, I just don't want to waste the time.
Yeah.
It's more of like,
it's more of like a fuck, like,
and that's not an ego thing. Like, we're truly confident in ourselves. And this is the thing. After we did our journey in Austin. Should we talk about that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure.
So we went to Austin with Daniel Morell's program, and he does plant medicine.
Do you know where plant medicine is?
Yeah, mushrooms. Yeah. You're there.
You did mushrooms there too?
You're blindfolded. And you just go into your thoughts.
No way.
And the things that keep you grounded.
Wait, so you take mushrooms and then you're blindfolded?
You can't halfway.
Did I half-ass it?
Well, no, like it doesn't sound half-assed to them, but
I think I did it wrong.
Like how much
I think I did it wrong. It's truly the most life-changing.
Can you explain the process?
It was the most life-changing week of my life in Austin.
Clearly, bro.
Yeah,
wait.
No, what I'm saying, I'm getting to it. So It was the most life-changing experience ever in Austin. I went through a very traumatic breakup. To me, it was traumatic. I was very. And I'm like, why am I acting this way in this breakup? Because I was aware. Like, I'm aware. I'm so thankful for Sean. Thankful for Barbara. Thankful for my mom and Jeffrey Combs for training me to deal with this breakup, because I was a mess, obviously, because everyone is in a breakup. You're losing something. And I really just I was trying to find answers, and all these answers from outside people. Why, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like inside. I'm like, all right, I know the true answer, why, everything. And I trust my heart and trust myself. And everything was so perfect leading up to the journey with the plant medicine in Austin. So that happens. I release it in 2 weeks because I know how to release it. Obviously, they're still grieving, but it's releasing the main big parts of it, so I'm okay. And
what was going through your mind when
back.
you're blindfolded and everything?
Okay, yeah. So I'll go to Austin. We do breath work. We did 3 days of breath
You
work.
two went together.
Yeah, we did.
Also, our entire team.
Our whole team did it.
Yeah. Like what we were like.
Our team is so connected and amazing.
Holy shit! What do you guys do? Like circle jerks every day? I'm so serious.
We literally hug each other.
Oh, yeah.
I hug Mike probably every day.
We probably cry like every like 2
I hug
it's,
Sean
the most,
every day. Like we are literally brothers. Like
100%.
straight up.
Yeah.
And it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
free.
So everything leading up until the mushrooms was perfect.
Yeah.
You know, went through that, which is uncomfortable, and then I changed. And when you're uncomfortable, you change. And I felt it, and it was the most amazing, empowering feeling of my life. Get to Austin. I'm like, I'm not gonna do the fucking mushrooms, Sean and Mike. I'm not gonna do the plant medicine. I'm done. I'm trying to get over this right now. Like, you're gonna do it, or else you're gonna stay here, and you're gonna be the same old Zach, grieving, upset, not doing business right now.
And let's preference to say that it wasn't just the shrooms that got you there. It was the knowledge and
from not shrooms, plant medicine. Plant medicine. When people, I truly believe that when people use mushrooms recreationally, it's wrong.
Well, yeah, that's what I wanted to say, because you're looking at the wrong question. Because if this does get views and stuff like that, you want to make sure people say that it's the knowledge, the breath work that you've done, and the accumulation plus
to get better.
So mushrooms.
All right, so I'm gonna get to Austin. We get here. Danny starts talking about consciousness and raising your vibrations, and me and Sean, I know it. I don't even care. We're vibrating at this level, and a lot of America's at this level, and you know it's so funny. My mom talks about all the time going from 3D to 5D. I'm getting like super trippy on you guys. Yeah. 3D is like the Matrix. You're just in this program, and 5D is being aware. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's probably way more to 5D and 3D that I don't know that my mom talks about. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So we get to Austin. We do breath work. We cry, we grieve, we hug random people we don't know. We're talking to police officers with PTSD, this tall, this big, crying on our shoulder. People with past traumas, breathwork, 3 days of breathwork leading up to the journey ceremony.
Correct.
And keep in mind, there's 100 people.
100 people in this room.
Oh yeah,
crying and screaming because of breathwork.
And the gross income of all these people is probably like close to like 300 million.
Millions
like just
of dollars.
100 people. Like these are like serious like game changers like inside of the actual field.
Millions of dollars. Yeah. And you know, we're doing 3 days of breathwork. First day, cry, hug, this, that, write down notes.
We're supposed to be at a real estate conference.
I was like, Mike, what kind of real estate conference is this? I literally walk out of my room to go to the Starbucks before I have my fucking polo on. I got my khakis on, cool shoes, whatever, like watch this, that. I see these dudes in like sweatpants. I'm like, what? Because they told us to bring a yoga mat and a pillow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am changing my outfit right now. And I put on the most comfy outfit ever because that's what it was. It's comfortable. Everyone's comfortable there, and everyone knows that they're worth it. And they don't need to dress to prove themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just telling the whole story myself. So want me to keep going?
It's good.
All right. So we do the breath work. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. We get into plant medicine. Should we be telling the story, or does it not matter?
Doug, I think that we should tell the story and then work our way out. Like I feel like this is like the right part of the time to tell it.
I think it was just like an amazing experience if you want to tell it. So let's say we get
I want to tell it so bad.
You want to tell it? All right, you tell it. So we do 3 days breath work. We finish. Go ahead.
Okay, so we do 3 days worth of breath work. We do these like meditation. We're supposed to be there. We're like, where the fuck are the expireds? What are we talking about? And it's like, no, there's like literally 15 minutes worth of real estate in the entire conference. And we're there for 3 days. And we're going from like, 8 a.m. to like
8 to 6 or 8 to 4.
8 to 6. We're there the entire time talking about grander picture, whatever else. You know, when you're doing the meditations and you're doing the breath work, you're actually able to release a lot. And, you know, traumas that you got there and you were like, oh, fuck, like this is going to be the trauma that I deal with when I go to the big day, you know, like the Saturday, like the shroom day, whatever else. Like, this is gonna be the big deal. It's gonna be the big deal. You release all that shit before you even get there. Then you get to the journey, and you're like, shit, like what is left? And,
so you can say that you released most of it before even anything.
Yes. Yeah, so it prepared us and got us grounded because you know when you take that stuff, you're tripping. You're like, back and forth between like, that was so funny. You're like so back and forth, and people can have an ego death.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you guys had a pre-ego death in a way.
So no. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done.
Yeah,
We did have.
Yeah, you guys had a pre-ego death.
It was like
100%.
I grieved
Surface
things.
level at least.
Correct.
During the breath work, you get so numb in your face, and Danny puts out these like scenarios, and it's like, oh my god, like I didn't grieve this guy's death, and everyone's the same as me, and this is so amazing. And you start crying in your blindfold just from breathing, because the breathing is so intense.
Yeah.
And the things that I had intended on releasing during the medicine journey on Sunday, I released it during the breath work.
Wow.
So I got so grounded before then that it was perfect on Sunday. But you can tell the story.
Like, you take away all the surface
And
things.
we're real estate agents.
Yeah, we're real estate.
Real estate agents do crazy shit. We'll buy anything. And this will better you. I'm buying it.
100%.
Yeah.
And you get there prior, and it takes away all your surface level problems that you don't even realize are surface level. And you get to Saturday, and keep in mind, so it drops down. Whoever's participating in this day, obviously, there's people that you believe in plant medicine. There's people that are open to it. And there's people that say, no, we're good. So there's only 50 people going to this. That was a lot of releasing. Yeah, 100%.
That was a lot of people.
This is the best part. We're all wearing white. You have to wear white.
Oh my god, this is like midsummer.
Midsummer.
Holy shit.
I hate whoever, if any of my buddies are listening to this, hate you for saying that. But they're like, oh, you're in fucking midsummer. You're gonna get it. You're in a cult. No.
Okay, but you guys are describing.
I am in a 7-figure cult.
Yeah.
That's what I'm in.
He like our mentor says that all the time. He's like, you think this is a cult? You're correct. Like
7-figure cult.
And
we make a lot of money.
We're all wearing white, wearing sweaters, wearing jackets, whatever else. Everyone has to wear white shoes, whatever. We get on this fucking bus, right?
So beautiful.
What you bring a pillow, a yoga mat, and a blindfold.
And coconut water.
Coconut water.
Hydrate
If you're a
yourself.
good man. Yeah.
Did you drink it?
I drank it after. I drank it after.
Drink some right now. I'll drink a whole thing. I'll drink a coconut. All right, go ahead. Finish.
Vitamins.
Mike was like, Sean, do you want coconut water? He's like, oh yeah.
Actually, after this podcast, I have some coconut water.
Oh, it's so good.
So we gotta change the game.
Alright, so
We get on
So
this
the bus,
We get
yeah.
on this bus. Magic school.
It's like midsummer.
and
I'm dead.
it's like this and it's of course it's like a white fucking bus. And we're like, keep in mind, we're all in this like bus with people we do not know. Like we have agreed to wear a blindfold, come in all white, go to a different fucking state, and go in the middle of the fucking woods and take 3.5 grams of shrooms.
It was not 3.5. It was definitely like.
That is what we were told.
That was a lot.
Holy shit!
It was a lot.
Minimum 3.5
I
grams.
thought 1 gram was like
Minimum.
No,
it was a lot.
It was a good amount. Like I've done shrooms twice. Like that was the most I've ever done.
you guys like saw God at that point.
Oh my
Jesus.
god! Hell yeah! I saw.
sure.
I went.
For
I
sure.
died and came back.
Well,
Yeah.
So it was beautiful.
Wow. They take us out to the
Recommended.
country,
10 out of
right?
10.
They take us out to the country, and
Dude, we were in a neighborhood in the country. It was so cool.
we went through this gate and we go into this barn, right? Barn doors open, all sides, whatever. And we all put down our yoga mats. And he's like, all right, guys, like our guy that's supposed to be there, that's like Danny Morell, not fucking there.
Didn't show up. I just fucking flew to Austin. I paid for this, paid for that. I'm doing this fucking spiritual journey. You can't fucking be here. Oh my god, I wasn't so mad. I was just like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You know, we're with some like people that we somewhat met, but now we're with people that are shamans. We are there.
There are shamans there.
We are 50 people wearing all white in the middle of a fucking
World
barn
of
in the middle of a fucking
Warcraft.
different
Yeah,
state.
real.
Tripping fucking dick.
I'm tripping right now while you guys are saying it.
100%.
I think I'm still high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you ever came down.
But it's working. It's working. Oh, it's still working.
It's always gonna be working.
And let's do it again. We're going again in November.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, keep this going.
I know we're gonna keep going off track.
Yeah, go ahead. I love it.
So we put down our yoga mats. This lady takes away my yoga mat. I wanted to be over by like the grass. He was lucky as fuck to get the RSVP.
I had
yoga mat, the
the
best
most
spot.
amazing. I'll tell my story too. How much time do we have?
I think it's infinite.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, do it. I love.
So he got this
Go.
He got this RSVP spot.
Tell him about your spot. I'll tell you about my spot.
Yeah.
I put down my mat, right? And this, like, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, best spot ever. I'm right next to the grass. Like, when I'm high, like, I just touch the grass. I can do something else. So I can, I just feel closer. I don't feel like, I feel like I can escape. I'm like scared. I'm like, what the fuck? We're in the middle of the fucking woods. And, like, I might need this. And this woman comes over and like is talking with her friends, takes my shit, lifts it, puts it 3 spots over to the left. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and she's like, oh, like, I was like, really? And she was like, oh, well, in case I throw up. And I was like, don't put that out there.
Don't say that. Yeah.
There's some shit that you can't say.
Yeah,
it
was horrible. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
And she's like, I was like, all right, cool. Just throw up that way if you do. I was like, don't like sit here and be like, oh, in case I throw up and then throw up on top of me. Like, so
I wouldn't freak out.
She takes my spot and we're all getting ready and the music's starting to go. Do you want to tell your story before I get into like the entire?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I had many breakthroughs. It's crazy because like my mom's super spiritual and I'm so blessed that she raised me that way, holistic, spiritual. So I'm very open to everything.
She's a person.
Absolutely, so open. So I knew everything I was doing was perfect. I knew I was protected because I know you can go down bad routes when you take this stuff.
Correct. On it. Yeah.
Never taken it before in my life. I know I have probably like 2 weeks before that. I just wanted to try it. So
in a fucking club.
In a bar.
Okay.
It was a blast. It wasn't a lot though. It was very minimal. It was like nothing, but nothing compared to what happened to me.
Yeah.
So, we prepare, get ready, shamans do the thing, and, I just start going in, and I don't want to talk about the whole meat and potatoes of the trip because it's very personal to me. And only
definitely
a lot of people that are close to me know about it, but not. It was
don't
the most
you don't want to.
Amazing experience and breakthroughs in my life where before that, I believed that I could make $300,000, but there was some doubt in my mind that I couldn't do it. And it was that small, insecure kid that never had any belief. And I got rid of that kid in that journey.
Amazing.
I got rid of him. Mike told me something is going to die in you and you're going to live. You're not going to die, but something in you will die. And that kid died. That small, insecure kid died. I accept my body for what it is now. I was always insecure about my body. Always. No matter how hard I work, I was always insecure. And I got rid of that. And I looked at myself in the mirror after the journey and I said, I am fucking beautiful. I'm a beautiful human being. Yeah. And all the limiting beliefs were gone. I didn't believe them. They said, when you're in this, the medicine will take you to where you are in your life that creates you where you are today. I had 3 intentions and every one of those intentions were gone. But I'll tell one of the craziest stories during it though. There was this guy that was getting grounded. You want to get grounded. You really want to get grounded before, because if you're not, you're going to go crazy. Yeah. So he took his shoes off. We were talking about all the stuff my mom taught me and he understood. We were killing it. We were talking this and that. So I just decided to take a picture of this guy. He's out there in the mountains. So I'm on concrete right here. I'm right here on the concrete and this is grass. I'm right there. So I have a perfect view of the mountains. It's the most beautiful view ever. When you're tripping on something, you can't describe your experience because everything is so beautiful and everything's so perfect. I don't know if this is because of the trip, everything was so perfectly aligned, or it truly was perfectly aligned. I think it was truly perfectly aligned. This guy starts doing this crazy grounding work. I'm like, I'm gonna take a picture of this guy. He's gonna love this after. I'm gonna take a picture of him doing this cool stuff with the mountains in the background. So he does this thing, has his moment, while we're all meditating. He has his moment while we're in the journey. He went through a lot. I respect him a lot for that, and everyone, it was beautiful how much stuff he released. And I talked to him after. I'm like, dude, look at this picture. I felt like you were gonna do something in the journey. I felt like you were gonna release a lot of shit. And I show him this picture. He's like, that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. And after the journey, or during the journey, I lifted my blindfold up and I see him away from everyone else, laying down like this. I'm like, oh my God, is that guy dead? Because that's when I went to go pee. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey dude, can I go pee? And I'm in this super spiritual journey right now, still doing it. I'm like, can I go pee? And I'm like, why the fuck did I just ask a grown man to go pee? Why do I need confirmation from anyone? Why do I need approval? Why don't I just get up and go? I'm in the middle of the fucking woods. I am in the middle of the woods. Why is that? It's the same breakthrough that Mike had that he told us about. I had the same exact breakthrough. And this guy was like this, had his moment, laying down in the grass, doing all this. Then I go back in the journey, do all my breakthroughs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all right, this shit's kind of wearing off. And it was so dark and scary when I got up to go pee. It was really dark and gray because it changes your whole thing. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check on this guy. He didn't look too good. I'm going to check on him real quick. The mountains in the background, everything. I lifted up. My Nikes are right there. Everything is so vivid and amazing because you can't describe things when you're on shrooms. You guys don't understand it.
It's a different world.
It's insane. And every color is so vibrant and beautiful. And this guy's literally doing yoga poses and meditating after everything that he went through. And I'm like, with the mountains in the background, this guy's doing yoga poses and meditating. I'm like, this guy just went through a lot. And I heard it and listened to it, and I peeked, and I'm like, I can't wait to tell everyone about this because this is the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. I saw the mountains in the background. This guy went through it, and now he's doing yoga poses, and he just looks so peaceful. And if I can tell the details, it all makes sense. But that's
the gist of it, though.
Indescribable, bro. Like every trauma that I had when I was younger is gone.
Good.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I'm still have more than I can heal. But I think I know I'm good now.
Yeah.
I know I'm good.
It's a peaceful feeling too.
And a lot of people are noticing. They're like, dude, you have an ego now. I'm like, I don't have an ego. That insecure kid is gone.
Yeah.
He is totally gone. I am proud about me. I'm proud where I am now, and everything to the timeline, to the journey was perfect. Tell your story. Yeah, it was amazing.
Do you have any questions for him? Wow. I wasn't sure.
No, go.
Fine.
And
there's more.
Real quick, we get up, it wears off and everything, and Sean gets up, he just starts walking around. And I look at Sean, I give this motherfucker the biggest hug in the world. I said, Sean, what the fuck is a real estate contract?
This is great.
We look at each other when we're getting up. I'm like, yo, we just did that shit. Because you go through so much when you're blindfold. Everyone, when you take the medicine.
You said, what the fuck is real estate? That's
when you take the medicine, you look out and you want to see things. And you have so much internal issues. That's why people have ego deaths. Because you don't battle those. People take mushrooms to look out. And I believe mushrooms are medicine. I go up to him and I go, Sean, what the fuck is real estate?
Yeah.
Because when you heal your traumas and mindset,
it's a joke.
Everything's a joke to you. Everything is a joke, and you're a perfect human being.
And I would say from my experience, I mean, you just realize that everyone deep down at the core has a good heart. Everyone is so pure, regardless of the fact.
You're exactly right. When the day you're born is the day you are a perfect human being without any programming, and you're not going to be the perfect baby ever, but you can unravel a lot of programming. You don't need to take plant medicine. You can do breath work and meditation.
Correct.
And get back to that state and be at that aware state.
Correct.
And it's just so funny because but this stuff blows me away, and we're just real estate agents, dude.
No.
It's so cool that we have such a great community of people. Like our team, it's like 8 people that believe the same thing and think everything it's perfect. But I want you to tell your story.
Yeah, go.
I would also like to elaborate just also on the team a little bit. It's such an important thing to build a community of like-minded individuals. I would think what you guys are doing is amazing.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Literally, because me and Zach, we a lot of times we have the opposite problems, and how we handle them.
So amazing,
and how
honestly.
we need to handle them are the opposite.
Yeah.
With his clients, he may be a little bit passive. For me, I might be a little bit too assertive. I may not be as empathetic, as understanding as he may be. And so being able to appreciate it for just different things and having someone that can help you pivot and then put yourself back on course is everything. Mm-hmm. And to be able to create an environment and be able to do that, I think that's the best thing ever.
And being vulnerable. Be vulnerable. Tell people your feelings. Not anyone, but tell people that you trust and care. Because when you have these feelings inside of you, it's just I love telling people how I feel. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I'll
tell you how I feel any day because it makes me feel good, and I don't want that ball of stress in me. I just want to tell someone.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you realize how big of a deal, once you're more open, you realize how big of a deal being open for other people is.
Crying and just releasing.
Just being real. I get it.
I mean, you realize how big of a deal that is for other people. Because, like you'll tell them about life experiences, whatever else. Oh, like this happened when I was younger, and you're not like trying to sit here and make a big deal about it. Like I told this one girl that I was dating, I was like, yeah, she was like asking about how my high school went, whatever. I was like, yeah, and so I was in sophomore year, junior year, I tried to kill myself, blah blah, and I went to the hospital, did this, and this, and she's like,
oh, true story.
True story, and she was like,
look at them now,
taken away by like the fact that I was just so open with it. I was like, dog, it's just part of my life. Like I don't really think about it as a big deal. Like it just we're all growing consistently always. I'll head back to the mushroom trip because I feel like it's fun. Like I feel like
plant medicine journey. Plant medicine journey.
Plant medicine journey. But for me, it was a trip.
I want some like Paul Stamets hype. This guy, Paul Stamets, is like a big mushroom guy. He's like, on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's like, don't fucking call it shrooms. Like so mad. Well, but it's true.
I'll preface it. I've done mushrooms like a few times. I did mushrooms the first time by myself, and I did it like absolutely by myself at my house, and I had my first experience with like ego death. And
by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, nightmare.
Yeah, and prime. You guys can't see this, but there's like the cutest fucking dog.
So cute.
It's like,
so small.
I'll take a gram later. Yeah.
Like a foot long.
Hey.
Yeah. So I'll head back.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about like a little bit of like past like trips, and then I'll tell you about the one that I just recently had.
Yeah.
So my mushroom trip, when I was by myself at my house, I had my first like ego death, and I was like looking externally and everything else. But every time I've done a trip like plant medicine, like I've had like a revolutionary experience for myself. In the past, I was always like everything matters or nothing matters.
Yeah.
And it was always one or the fucking other. You feel that?
Yeah. No, I do.
Like, I do. That's killer. That'll kill you, because like the fact of the matter is I do this, and none of it matters. I know none of it matters, because in the bigger existence, or even in the little existence, it really just my life just has no meaning. Or every single action that I take is do or fucking die, and that is no way to fucking live.
Yeah.
And I did my first mushroom journey, and
in your backyard, right?
In my backyard.
Nice.
Yeah. Next to my fireplace.
Nice.
And I went and I came to the conclusion at the end, it's really just up to your perspective. And that's when really the bigger sentence forms. Like, how I talked about, like, you can have little things that change the entire thing for you, but you get like one bigger sentence or one bigger idea. That was probably the bigger idea for me, is the fact that it's just perspective. Everything can matter and nothing can matter at the same time, just depending on what you want it to be.
I love it.
Yeah. And the second time I did mushrooms, it was not as revolutionary.
Not pretty, right?
Not fucking pretty.
Where was it?
I was in the middle of the forest.
With who?
With like 9 people.
That's the problem.
Bad idea. Yeah.
And it was probably people that you didn't like truly like love or trust.
So there was 2 people that were supposed to watch us. There were 7 of us taking shrooms. I think I did like 3 grams. Middle of the night, I wore a GoPro. I still have the tape to this day.
To you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I gotta see it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Were you screaming?
No, man, I wasn't like a freaking like. It's not meth. It's just mushrooms. Like,
yeah. I mean, if anything, you're like calm.
You're calm. You're just laughing. Yeah, experiencing everything. My friends were sitting there making the Bane voice for like half an hour. Like,
it's a little scary, dude.
They're like, the man who broke the pet's back. Eventually it gets dark out, and like super fucking dark. Everyone's going in their tents. I didn't bring a tent because I didn't realize like that where we're going. Like the pictures looked like it was a fucking beach. I brought a fucking hammock. Everyone brought a tent. It's super fucking cold. It's 40
cold
degrees.
And dark, dude. Yeah.
And the 2 people that are supposed to watch us, one is already asleep. The other one's an absolute like basically dick, and he's not letting me inside the tent, and I'm stuck outside in the complete darkness, like on like 3 grams of mushrooms, freaking the fuck out.
Damn, bro.
And he's like, go ask someone else. He's like, I can't fucking help you, blah blah. And I'm freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
And after about an hour and a half of that, I eventually get let in the tent. And
wait, that breaks my heart, actually.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's actually horrible. You should really have people.
That's terrible. Yeah. Like, that's like the worst experience that you could have.
Yeah. Like, it was like I had so much like trauma. Like,
yeah,
it was traumatic. And
God,
he eventually lets me in, and
this is not the controlled journey.
This is not the controlled journey. This is what these are the alternatives, and that's I think why it's like super
recreational mushrooms.
Like, share it, because you can see my medium journey to where it's like, okay, cool, I got something out of it. I was by myself. I had an ego death, but I didn't freak out. This is worst case scenario. Next one, probably best case scenario.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario is still kicking in, and you know, I'm finally in the tent and there's no mattress, no nothing. Like I'm sleeping on roots of a tree right now. My back is absolutely fucked. My mind is absolutely fucked, and I'm tripping in my mind. Every time I close my eyes, I see all these different visions, and I'm having like panic attack. I'm having a panic attack, and I'm having like I feel like I'm having PTSD, and I've never experienced that in my life. Yeah. So I felt like I was having like PTSD of things that I couldn't even release. Like I was just freaking out. Like I was so scared that something was coming to get me, or that like I was about to like just fucking like die. I was hoping to die. Worst. Like I was like in the worst mindset ever.
This is terrible.
And I'm living a hell, and like my friend's not like helping me whatsoever. And eventually like I'm like, please, like, just talk to me. I need to know, like, what reality is, because I'm losing touch with reality. I'm physically losing touch with reality. I don't know what is real. And I'm like, please keep talking to me. Please keep, and I'm just freaking the fuck out. And, you know, eventually he starts, like, helping me more and more. But I just can't. I'm losing my mind. And my friend, who's been tripping on, like, 5 grams of mushrooms, is in the other part of the tent. He comes in. This man comes out of like his own death trap. He's like, Sean, I've been hearing you freak out for the past 3 hours, and I've just been in a living hell and haven't been able to talk, because he was like actually in hell and he could not use his voice. And so he came in, and I thought I was going through the shit. He was going through the next level because he's done this before. So like he's had experience like I had. So I know he's really going through the shit. And he's sitting there calming me down. To me, he has his head halfway through the tent. This man looks like Jesus to me. I'm like, thank you, Lord.
Hey.
And he goes out and like takes my hammock down and puts it over me. So that way I'm a little bit warm, because it's like 40-30 degrees out. Yeah. And then like we're in the middle of a lake.
Sheesh, bro.
And I wake up and like it's just a whole fucking thing. I had an ego death, obviously, like after, and for like a day or two, I felt really good, because like I had released so fucking much, because I was holding on to so much. Like I had just gone back like through like a bad breakup, and I had but also just like past trauma of like myself. Like it's not always about girls. It's really just about like bullshit. And like I not released so much about like, you know, my parents and everything else, and like the struggles I went through as a kid. And you know, like I eventually out of it. The next 2 days I feel like really good, but it's because I can't feel anything. So I'm super calm, and that was really what I was struggling with prior. My issue is overthinking. Like a lot of times, like we talk about this all the time. Like my issue is creating complexities, or like that's what it was. And his issues was and so like I needed simplicity, and his issues was like, oh, everything's
getting
so simple,
quicker,
but getting quicker, and like
and
creating the complexity to
polar opposites.
Yeah,
we're such because it's so funny, because I was like, Sean, dude, like sometimes I look up to you and I'm like, dude, I want that. Like I can have that drive, I can switch it on, but I want it all the time. And I'm like, Sean, like how the fuck do you do that all the time? He's like, that's crazy, because I look at you and I want to know how to relax. And I'm like, why the hell did we never talk about this? And that's when we learned to get vulnerable. We learned before to get vulnerable, and when we did that, we're like, okay, we can really learn something from each other.
We're way closer than we've ever been. Like obviously, like our entire existence. Because like, you know, you're going straight with a car, and you're going into a wall. And this is my problem. You can't, like, the wall's here. You're not going to move the wall. You need to reverse back, pivot, take a step. His issue was like going back and then like just trying to figure it out.
Yes.
Like so, like going moving forward. His issue was moving forward. So like we're able to complement each other and help each other a lot because of it. I'm gonna go into like the third journey and like the actual trip now. As this was different. You know, we're wearing all white. We have blindfolds on. We have shamans there. They're like, all right, guys, so this is the guide and whatever else. They give us a little baggie full of shrooms, and it said, "Don't eat the wood." And for me, you know, we spoke before when we did the trip. You're supposed to write down, you know, your intentions for the past few days. I came up to Zach and my friend Nick, and I was like, fuck, like I didn't write any intentions. I was like, fuck, I'm so fucked, fuck. And
because you get lost, they keep you grounded.
Because I get lost. Yep. And I decided, like, at that point, what I really wanted was just inner peace and like inner love. Yeah. That's all I fucking wanted. And because, you know, you take away all the surface problems and it just becomes exactly, you know, your intention becomes just your foundation.
Yeah, correct.
And so we're doing the journey, and like inside of the bag, you'd be like, don't eat the wood. I'm like, where the fuck is the wood? We're all looking inside the bag for the wood because we can't find it. I take it out. It's a little wood heart that says love. Oh. I was like, dog, I'm like, this is what I was fucking looking for. I was like, let's fucking do this. Like,
yeah, that was his intention. Yeah, that's what you needed, bro.
That's what I needed.
Self-love, or it's amazing.
And it always comes in.
It's awesome.
It just came to you.
Yeah.
You can't predict it, like the way that shrooms is going to show up. Like when I looked up, I like with my second trip, I was like, fuck, I'm like in like space and everything was so vivid and clear. And like just like stars and everything was so vivid and clear. When I did my first trip, I was looking at my tree looked like it was changing forms, like between like a dragon and someone's face and like other shit. So, you know, we have our blindfold on this time. I don't know what's gonna happen because it's all within your mind. I'm gonna share my trip because my trip is not as complex my trip as everyone else's was. You know, they start doing these sounds and this different music and all this different like shaman guides, and you're hearing the thunder in the background, and you know it takes about 40 minutes to like get into the trip. And I finally get in the trip, and I start doing like almost these yoga poses. Keep in mind, we're all laying down, but I start doing these yoga poses to like just the trip and my experience. And I'm doing like this warrior yoga pose, and I feel like I'm like fighting, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm a warrior, and like almost like a tribal warrior, to where like I could feel the actual shield on my arm. Yeah. I could feel the spirit in my hand and tattoos, everything. And I'm just fucking going, and I'm judging myself, and I'm like, why do I always have to fight this? Why do I always have to fight? I'm always fucking fighting. Why can't I just want inner peace and inner fucking love? Why am I always like, I can't, like, just what am I doing? And then, you know, I go back into a different state, and I get back into this pose, and for me, I feel like a fucking king.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know, there's these little times to where you're like remembering, like, fuck, like I remember when I was younger, my sister or whatever, I had a lot of people that didn't appreciate me at the time. Always tell me, like, I was like, oh, I think I'm superior. I'm like, I'm not. Like, I feel like I'm actually one of the most like more caring people. But you know, people will mistake my confidence for something other than what it is. Like, I'll be the first person to like take off my like shirt and give it to you. But I was like, fuck, why do I always have to feel like, why do I always have to like think that like I'm some like big fucking whatever, blah blah, like I'm like superior or whatever. It's like, eventually, and this trip lasts like 4.5 hours.
It was a long time.
That's a long trip.
Yeah, it is a long fucking time.
And it felt like 20 minutes.
It felt like 20 minutes. And, you know, I keep going just back and forth between these two poses and these two ideas. And eventually I come to the recognition that, like, dog, I'm just a fighter. Like, that's just who I am. And, like, I embraced that about myself. I was like, I love the fucking game. Like, I'm just, like, for me in my mind, like, I'm just ambition incarnate. That's what I want. I want it all. Ambition. Not because I don't want the end result. I just want. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just love the fucking game.
Exactly.
And so I was like, all right, accept that by myself. And then also, you know, then came like the more king identity, and I was like, fuck. I was like, dog. I'm like, I don't think like I really like. I try not to think that I'm better than anyone else or whatever else. And I was like, no, dog, like I'm just the king of my own reality. Yeah. I just thought of myself, I'm like, I'm just king of kings in my own reality, you know? And that's just what I am. And I take full ownership of that. Like, and I was able to appreciate the difference between everyone, because the right answer for me is not the right answer for you, because we're different people. We're different aspects of God, of whatever it may be. And I was really able to appreciate that, like, especially for like Zach or something, because as like he said earlier, like typically we're like polar opposites. So I was able to so appreciate exactly what works for him and like who he is and how he is the best version of what he could be. And not just because he works on himself, but just that's who he is. And same way I'm the best version of what I am, you know, and we're all built in, like, you don't get mad at a rook for being a rook. You don't get mad at a bishop for being a bishop. You know, they're the best versions of each one of their pieces. So why are we any different? Yeah. And so I was able to fully take that in as my journey, and guess what I got from that? I got self-love and inner peace, because I wasn't fighting who I am. I embraced it. And
I love it.
I was able to take that. We got out of that, bro. I felt like a fucking
oh my god, like it was
Trojan warrior, bro.
Amazing.
I was fucking hyped.
We woke up
and we saw each other. We came up. We like just were like, bro, and like, because you can't even like. You can't understand.
Yeah, you can't understand, but we knew that everyone went through their own thing, and we look at each other when we get up and we're like, wow, You fought that, I fought that, and like we just did that shit, and we hugged, and
oh, it was amazing. When we saw our mentor came up to us, and he was like, and I was like, dog, just
dog. I was like, stay back. Right he started talking to us, kissing us on the head, because it truly meant so much to him, because he built this team, and now his whole team is following his guidance. Went on the 3 days of breathwork, went on the 3 days of journey. We did the journey, and I know he's so proud of himself and happy that we're there with him. It's like, it makes me happy.
Not even that, like, we're family.
Yeah, straight up. Like, this is my brother. Like,
100%. Yeah.
After that journey, I knew there was some connection with everyone, and it was
it's deeper.
It was beautiful, bro. It's way bigger than real estate.
And the fun part is this: is after we're all high, and
I go, yeah,
like. We all start like talking, whatever, and you're seeing the boys, and it's me, Zach, and Nick, and we're over by like the food now, and we're like, fuck, I got it, like got pizza, like so like
vegan. We were vegan, by the way. We were vegan
the entire trip.
We were vegan for 5 days up to it, and then I stayed vegan 2 weeks after. Just started eating chicken and salmon again very recently, but oh my gosh,
Jesus,
I like when people tell you that they're vegan. I know why they tell you that they're vegan. Because you need to tell people that you're vegan, because the change that I felt in my body and how not bloated I was and how
you have to do it for the
good I felt in the gym. I was lifting so much weight. I had no inflammation.
Yeah.
I just wasn't bloated. I felt good.
Cleared up and everything.
Acne cleared up. I mean, look, this is from chicken and salmon. Seriously, like.
Yeah,
it changes your whole body for the better.
I have to go vegan.
And you have a different
view
perspective of
animals,
and animals and food. Like
you go vegan for a week.
You're eating death.
You're actually eating dead things, and I never thought about that, because like I eat meat with every meal.
Yeah,
every single.
Okay, this isn't a pro vegan. This is not a pro vegan fucking podcast. Stop. we're not gonna go vegan doing shrooms.
But it's crazy. We'll tell you the journey, but like truly, like you're eating.
Well, it's
pretty crazy.
No, I fucking.
But like, we don't need to get into that.
I was about to say. I mean, I think it's kind of beautiful that you guys shared your experience, and then also, I mean, I think that right there is a perfect way to like kind of wrap things up.
For sure.
And it's just, I'm just again so thankful to have you guys on.
Dude,
I think
for sure. Thank you,
happy.
Dude. It's like
I'm so happy.
I feel like there's so many more.
This was a spiritual journey within itself, and it's like
this podcast was a journey, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we're on some like trippy shit right now, but like we're real estate agents, we're young, and we're still hungry and ambitious.
You guys have so much more to produce.
I enjoy we enjoy nice things. We're like, but we're just like our community. Our team is just like something different, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the end of the day, you guys are real.
Yeah. So, we're people. We still go out. We still have a good time. Like, what are you talking about? We're not some like trippy shamans.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's not a game.
So would you guys like to plug any socials?
Catch me at _Sean.Rodriguez_ on Instagram. I'm Sean_OMG on Snapchat.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know I'm pretty much at it. Give me an extra review on Zillow, as long as it's 5 stars. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Just make sure you find the house first.
Or also, just give me a referral. That'd be cool. But yeah, I mean,
or him.
What's your Snap?
Not my Instagram. My Instagram's my main handle, Zach Pazanza, ZACHPOSSANZA. No spaces. Zach Pazanza.
The man.
The boys.
The
boys, baby.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, man. It's been great.
Peace.
See ya.